What's good? What's good? What's going on with everybody? We back alive again. We back alive again. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Let me set up my. Let me set my stuff up. This is one of them impromptu live streams. We got the cynical one in the building. Oh, we got some stuff to talk about. I tried to tell y'all Negroes what was fixing to happen, and y'all didn't want to believe the Grandmaster. Y'all didn't want to believe we were this close. We were this close. They're this close from starting a little a race war out there. Oh, let me see if I can get my playback set up real quick. Hold on, I didn't even monetize the live stream. Stop the show. I gotta go back and monetize the live stream. They didn't even play my goddamn. They didn't even play my goddamn commercial. There we go. There we go. That ought to do it. That ought to do it. Oh, welcome to the Grandmaster Troll Show. Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, the Grandmaster Troll, here to give you the best trolling content YouTube has to offer. So you guys see the live stream. Am I on board with the Jake Lang and Protect White Lives movement and the task of stopping black violence? I mean, I've been a big proponent, a big advocate on trying to bring down some of the crime, trying to bring down some of the violence in the so-called community, and we've been getting. I've been getting hit from black folk, B dubs, BMs, this group, that group, Democrats, Republican, that person, people at the job, everybody in between. It seems like they don't want to curb this issue of violence and crime in the community. And one of the things I always said, if you don't address black on black crime, there's going to be other casualties who aren't skin folk, and if you tear out the frame, if you knock over the head, if you rock enough snot boxes back of people that don't look like you're gonna have some problems. And here we are in 2025, and we had Jake Lang go out. Let me see if I could pull up that video real quick. Oh, I don't have it up here. Okay, I gotta go find it. I gotta go find it. I got to go find it. And then I gotta ask the question: Am I on board with the Jake Lang movement? Oh, I don't want to play that. Let's go ahead and mute you right now and let you play through the commercials. Let me see. What do I want to present? What do I want to present? I want to present a share screen right here. We want to go with the entire screen. We want to share the audio. There, we got we got people. We got people in the chat now. You gotta watch out for Negroes like this. Hold on. Okay, there it is. I don't want to move it. I gotta highlight this comment right here. So you gotta watch out for Negroes like this because they love drama, they love the violence, they love the criminality. They have a fucked up mindset. We just gotta be honest. See, Negroes like this. Well, the Cave Reaper right here. He says Super Slide called you a maggot, bro. I don't care what y'all Negroes think of the Grandmaster truck, but what this Negro wants to do is he wants to come over, tell me that another Negro said something about me so I could go attack that Negro while he enjoys it from the comfort of his own home. You gotta watch out for Negroes like that because that's what they like to do. They like to stir up drama. So here he go. He gonna tell me Super Sly called you a maggot. I don't care. I like Super Sly as a content creator. Every now and then I tune into his live streams. Every now and then when I tune into some of his live streams, he takes shots at me. I find it funny and hilarious, and I'm the least bit offended, no matter what name Super Sly may have or may not have called me, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I don't care what y'all Negroes say. I don't care what y'all Negroes do, as long as you keep that negativity away from me. And people like to run that water from chat room to chat room, live stream to live stream, hoping to get content creators to beef with each other. And the Grandmaster Troll, I'm not falling for that tactic. But anyway, back to our man Jake Law. Now, for those of you that don't understand the scenario, this whole thing happened because of the Carmelo Anthony stabbing situation. You guys know Carmelo Anthony, 3.7 age student, clean criminal background, went to a track meet. I guess he brought a knife with him to a track meet, even though some people are trying to say it was a spike cleaner. We don't know what kind of knife you bought. We gotta find all the details and everything missing in between that trial. But he brought a knife to the track meet. Austin Metcalf told him to move. It was raining outside. He didn't want to move out into the rain. There was a confrontation. Austin Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony felt threatened and he pulled the knife out from his backpack and he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf. And when Negroes and non-Negroes had to pick sides, it became about race. It wasn't about who was right, who was wrong. It wasn't about unity. There was no more diversity and equity and inclusion. People were getting thrown out from press conferences. People was blaming black people. People was blaming white people and white supremacy. People was blaming culture. Everybody was pointing fingers. And then, of course, the grifters come. The grifters always come. There was a GoFundMe for Austin Metcalf that raised over $250,000. Then there was a GoFundMe. Well, not really a GoFundMe. Another site that's similar to GoFundMe, but I guess a GoSim, whatever it was. That fund raised over almost $500,000. So we had over $750,000 just being donated to either support the victim, the person who lost their life, or the individual who people thought were protecting himself. So we had $750,000, and when we saw those monies change hands, and we saw how ridiculous the total funds was being donated, the grifters came out. So we had a fellow by the name of Dominic Alexander who runs what's the name of his company that he was always now all of a sudden I can't find the name of his company. I know I got it Googled somewhere. Oh, now all of a sudden I can't find it. Hold on. I'm gonna give this brother all the shine. I'm gonna give him all the shine. I'm gonna give him all the shine. My brain is fried. My brain is fried. Hold on. We got people in the chat. He said it's pointless as fuck to bring drama on here. But Grandmaster Troll, you supposed to be the biggest troll. I am, man. See. This is why. This is what people don't understand about the Grandmaster Troll, because they're Johnny Come Latelys and they don't understand how the Grandmaster Troll channel got started. The Grandmaster Troll channel got started because the Grandmaster Troll saw other Negroes beefing and arguing, threatening to kill each other online for no reason over petty beefs. So I created this channel and inserted myself in these petty beasts for ridiculous answers in ridiculous ways to show other content creators how foolish they are for coming on YouTube and the internet and beefing with other people that I thought they would say, damn, how am I beefing with a dude by the name of Grandmaster Troll? Let me stop and fall back. They didn't stop and fall back. Some of them got doxxed, some of them got exposed. It was just Grandmaster Troll trying to show these individuals how foolish they were from coming on YouTube and arguing instead of using conflict resolution. He says, no disrespect. What would you do if one of these YouTube Negroes ran up on you in public? In peace or not? What's the game plan? The game plan you could use. I could use these. I could use my mouth, or I could use my legs. I told these individuals where I live, where they could find me, where I be, where I'm at. None of these so-called YouTube content creators has showed up, so that lets me know they know better. They know right from wrong. But we had this Dominique Alexander individual give his press conference where he threw out the race card. He kicked out the father, said the father shouldn't even came to a public press conference to try to get some clarity, some clarification, some closure on how his son got his snot box rocked, how he got torn out the frame, how he got hit with a Mortal Kombat fatality. That's right, a Mortal Kombat fatality. Finish her. Fatality. So his son get hit with one of the Mortal Kombat fatalities, and he's just trying to figure out what happened, why didn't they just? Because we all been in high school, we all seen fist fights, we all been in fist fights. I've been in fist fights, and the fist fights I was involved in, nobody pulled out a knife, nobody pulled out a gun, nobody did a Mortal Kombat fatality. I've seen fights, I've seen other fights. Nobody pulled out a knife, nobody pulled out a gun or attempted to do a Mortal Kombat fatality. So he was at the press conference just trying to get some closure, show some unity, because both families were getting attacked, both families were getting lied on, and he was trying to quell the violence, the confrontation that was going on around the situation. But since nobody wants to be the bigger man and use conflict resolution, this is where we are at today. Okay, so by the way, Jeets, in case you didn't know who I was, it's me, Azure. He said he had a whole he had a whole Hitler haircut. That's wild. That's wild. But this was your boy. This was your boy right here. He went to Jason Whitlock's show. Now, before we even talk about Jason Whitlock or about this interview, we gotta talk about Jason Whitlock. But more importantly, we gotta talk about the black conservatives and why, even though I may claim to be a conservative, I can't ride with the black conservatives because the black conservatives, they talk bad about the black community to appease white folks to join conservative white media, to join conservative white organizations in which they could make money off the talking points, as opposed to, this is the problem with the community that I'm a part of. I don't like it, and I just want to fix the problem. I don't want to get paid talking about the problem. That's the problem I have with these black conservatives. When these black conservatives join these white organizations, and once these white organizations use these dudes as puppets to either use them to regurgitate talking points that they couldn't say with, or ingratiate themselves with their audience, and when they don't need them no more, they discard the black conservatives. And when the black conservatives get discarded by their conservative white counterparts, the problem of the black communities aren't fixed, aren't corrected, and they lose their whole internet foundation in which they were making money. So it's a double loss for them. That's why I could never rock with black conservatives, because I already know that that's the trap that's going on. But let's listen to some of this real quick. Let's listen to some of this bullshit real quick.
Back to the program. Jake, I want to hear your explanation about why you're leading this protest. I think they're saying the video or the audio is fine, but the video cuts in and out a little bit. Jake, why are you leading this protest in Frisco, Texas tomorrow?
Jason, thanks for having me on. You know, normally I'm very jovial when I join your program, just getting out of prison 86 days ago from a presidential pardon. You know, this is the type of thing where justice needs to be served. In this case, we have a killer on the loose, which you have said multiple times here. This man killed Austin Metcalf in cold blood. And there used to be sacred honor amongst men, a time where we could grieve, where the public could gather together and show up and show support for senseless violence. This is senseless violence. And they have stolen that from us. Part of the PSYOP with January 6th was to try to turn people away from exercising their God-given rights. And that's what we're doing today. We're standing up. I am a white American. I am Jewish by bloodline, Christian by faith. And I understand that my community, there are millions of white Americans out there living in fear every day of being terrorized. Every single day I turn on my X feed and I see hundreds of videos of young black women and men attacking, gang beating, curb stomping, robbing, and terrorizing the white Americans. And I have to stand up as a leader of my community and address this for what it is.
Stop the show. Stop the show. You see on this channel here, when I break down the news clippings of robberies, beatings, smash and grabs, murders, fights, disagreements, violence, the perpetrator is usually 80% of the time somebody that's of the melanin. Most of the time, the victim is somebody of the melanin. But there's been times when the victim is not somebody of the melanin. It's somebody non-black. And we got this guy, Jake Lang, here. Now, I'm not saying when a black person victimizes somebody that isn't black, majority of the time of the clips that I've shown, they're not technically white. They're technically Asian, but sometimes they're white, sometimes they're Hispanic, sometimes they're elderly, sometimes they're Arabic, whatever they may be. But I said, if this keeps happening, you're going to have people create organizations, create movements to come at you. And the last thing you need is a predominantly white movement who gets fed up and says enough is enough. See, this is what you folks of the community, people of the melanin, should be afraid of, because now they're going to use those who commit 10% of the crimes, the people who are out there killing folks, because not everybody of the melanin is out there acting in a lawless behavior. Not everybody of the melanin is out there supporting this nonsense. There's plenty of people of the melanin who have spoken out against what's going on in the community. But now we're at a point where somebody is gonna have a movement. They're gonna do a rally. You know they're gonna be armed, and you know they're gonna protect themselves from people of the melanin who want the smoke. At the end of the day, this is what happened. Because we couldn't clean up the community. We had years after years after years after years to get it cleaned up, and we haven't.
There were just a couple cases left or right here or there. We could, kind of chalk it up to a violent issue in America. But there is statistical data, factual data, 12 times the amount of black people robbing white people as the opposite way. That is a systemic issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about for what it is. We cannot tiptoe around the issue. If we want to solve the culture of black violence in America, this violent hip-hop gang culture, we need to name it for what it is. And as a white American myself, I have so much love for my community. I am very worried about the people in my community being assaulted. I also have love for the black community, and that's why I'm not just calling out this protest and this gathering with hatred, but we have consistently said we want to uplift the black community, return the modesty, the dignity, the love that they used to share with the white community of the Martin Luther.
Stop the show, because he said a whole lot there that he said a whole lot there that we have to unpack. We gotta unpack what he just, because he said a whole lot we gotta unpack. So let's go ahead and unpack what he said.
My community being assaulted. I also have love for the black community, and that's why I have so much love. Culture of black violence, that is a systemic issue that there is statistical data, factual data.
There are statistical and factual data.
12 times the amount of black people robbing white people as the opposite way. That is a system.
So in other words, there's black people are robbing white people 12 times. So basically, whenever one black person gets robbed by a white person, we times that by 12. So every one time, 12 times a black person is robbing or doing something violently. Now I know some of you pro-blacks, you're going to talk about systemic racism. You're going to talk about Jim Crow. You're going to talk about slavery. You're going to talk about DI and unfair stuff. What we're talking about is hardcore crime. We're not talking about you getting a job and then you claim that at your job you're being discriminated against and you're being passed over for job. We're not talking about none of that. Again, my opinion on that is, if you are working for a so-called racist company and you choose to punch the clock at a racist company with a racist boss, you make that choice. You could quit that job, find you another job, or start your own business. So I don't want to hear about none of that. That's my opinion on it. But we're talking about robbery, theft, home invasions, assaults, murders. We're talking about crime. This is what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Systemic issue that needs to be addressed.
It's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Crime, violence needs to be addressed. And if 2% of the population, if 5% of the population, if 6% of the population is committing 30%, 40%, a disproportionate number of crime, which is true in the community, it needs to be addressed. He's 100% right on that.
And needs to be talked about for what it is. We cannot tiptoe around the issue.
He's right. We cannot tiptoe around the issue. Now, when these crimes are being committed and the person gets arrested, or if there's a description of the person and that person happens to be a person of the melanin, all of a sudden we can't get on the news and say we're looking for a person of a person of the melanin that's around 6 foot tall, has red hair or a blonde wig or a nappy afro or whatever the hairstyle is, because somehow that's considered being racist. So now when these crimes are getting committed and there's a description of the suspect, the description of the suspect doesn't go out because we don't want to offend nobody. Because, police is going to start looking, and when people fit the description, just because you fit the description, that doesn't mean you committed the crime. But when you stop people and you say you fit the description, can we see your ID? We're just trying to make sure we're trying to keep the community safe. People of the melanin get offended by that. So now we have to tiptoe around it. He's 100% right on that. And then we had the defund the police. We had all these reform programs, all this other stuff that went easy on criminality. So we had to tiptoe around it. Jake Lang is 100% right on that.
If we want to solve the culture of black violence in America, this violent hip-hop gang culture, we need to name.
Okay, he said if we want to solve this problem of black violence, this is what we need to do. Go ahead and go.
Name it for what it is. And as a white American myself, I have so much love for my community. I am very worried about the people in my community being assaulted. I also have love.
Stop the show. Stop the show, Jake, because this was my I was willing to rock with you. I'm willing to rock with you, but I know you're gonna bring it to this point, and at this point I gotta jump off the cliff. Because you just said, let me see if I can back it up a couple of seconds.
For what it is, and as a white American myself, I have so much love for my community. I am very worried about the people in my community being assaulted. I also have love for the black.
He's worried about the people of his community, who he says as the name of his movement, white Americans. This is where I have to fall back. One, because I see Asian Americans getting violated by black criminality. I see Latin folks getting violated by black criminality. I see black people getting violated by black on black crime. I see white people, and this lets me know he truly don't care about black folks, because black folks are the number one victims of black crime. It seems to me that if black folks, wasn't violating white people, he would not be up here. If black on black crime stayed black on black crime, he wouldn't give a damn about black crime. So this is where I had to fall back from Mr. Jake Lang. Even though I'm intrigued, even though I want his movement to be successful, because if he could stop violence on white people. Maybe that'll curb black crime in general.
Community, and that's why I'm not just calling out this protest and this gathering with hatred, but we have consistently said we want to uplift the black community, return the modesty, the dignity, the love that they used to share with the white community of the Martin Luther King era, where they wore suits, they went to church, they had this great atmosphere about them. That is completely gone. There's a degenerate culture that is pervasive in a large majority of black Americans, and we need to address it as white Americans and say, please stop predatorizing. And please is a nice word. We're demanding, we're making a show of strength and a love of unity, demanding in the white community, stop predatorizing white Americans. You have been brainwashed, the black community in by and large, not your audience, the black conservatives that watch your program, which is an amazing program, have nothing really to do with what we're talking about. But the other, I would say, all of the people who voted for Kamala Harris, which 97% of black women voted for Kamala Harris and over 80% of black men, those voters, that population, I am addressing those.
That's right, Simply Deep. That's right, Simply Deep. What's up? Your boy is coming after the B-dubs who voted for Kamala Harris and the black men who voted for Kamala Harris. In other words, he's talking about black Democrats. He got on TV and said the black Democrats are the problem.
People today, they have ingrained with inside their own youth by propping up athletes, ball players, rappers, and other basically people that are living for the moment, not trying to sew in any type of longevity. There is a epidemic of immediate gratification in the black community. No one is willing to go to college, buy businesses, and by and large, and build into their community. As soon as one of these rappers or ball players gets any money, they move out of their community and they move into a white community, and they bring this degenerate culture with them. And eventually it is spreading out into the suburbs.
Stop. Now, I understand, an athlete like Anthony Brown, you guys know Anthony Brown or Antonio Brown, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, got hit by Vontaze Burfict, had concussion, and when he had that concussion, he couldn't get right. But anyway, he probably lived in the black community. When he got hot in the NFL and got his big contract, he moved into a rich, upper-class white neighborhood. And then when he's out there with his baby mama, he's getting into altercations with his baby mama. Police got to get called and that stuff, that happens. But then you also got to talk about the LeBron James. You got to talk about the Steph Currys. LeBron James, born Akron, Ohio, not the best of circumstances. When he got his big contracts, his Nike deal, he moved to an upper-class white neighborhood. And from everything I've heard, I haven't heard LeBron James come up in anything that was associated with crime. So there's individuals who are black who do move to upper elite upper white class elites neighborhoods, and they act like they got some sense. But I'll let you go ahead and explain it.
Spreading out into all of America. We are not safe. The white people in America are not safe right now, and we need to address and build with the black community to restore peace and honor amongst the different races in America and return to e pluribus plurum, out of many.
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
90%. One.
Jake, you're wearing a cross. You part of your survival in prison was.
Come on, Jason. Come on, Jason. You see, Jason, when you about to give your follow-up question. The first follow-up question I want to ask is, how do you want to bring dignity, uplift, and fix the problems of said black community? What Jason Whitlock's going to do is he's going to try to bring it back to that Bible. I understand you a God-fearing man. You love Jesus Christ. But let's see what your questioning leads to.
Turning to the Bible and the racial idolatry that you're talking about, and limiting, white people, we're being attacked. I'm sitting here as a black man.
Are
I
we
got
not
the
being
same
attacked,
data.
Jason? Are we not being attacked? Do you turn on your X feed
Let me-
every day and see dozens and
Jake,
dozens
let me
of
finish.
videos?
You see, and whenever you go biblical route and you tiptoe and you don't answer the question, are white people or Asian people or black people, are they being predatorized by YNs out there? Anything other than, yes, they're being victimized by them. This is what we, anything other than that, you don't have a ground to stand on, Jason Whitlock. But you wanted to go the biblical route. You wanted to go the racial idolatry route instead of addressing the problem
Of white people being attacked by black people. I'm asking you a question. Do you see that or not?
Put Jake on pause. Put Jake on pause.
Now you got to put Jake on pause because you don't want to answer the direct question. You don't want to address the problem.
Put Jake on pause or hold. Jake, I'm not interrupting you. I'm going to let you speak for as long as you want to speak. But I get to talk on this show too. And so what you said, there's truth to what you said. But there's also this truth. This black pagan culture that has been adopted among a mass number of black people is killing and destroying far more black people than white people. That does not excuse what is happening to black people. What white people.
I'm not here to address that today. I'm here to stand for my community
I
today.
got it. Put him back on pause. Let me finich my point.
The black on black violence is an epidemic.
Could we mute him for a second?
That's the beauty. What, Jason? I could not believe you said what you just said, Jason Whitlock. Let me go ahead and play it again.
Far more black people than white people. That does not.
So there's far more black people being victimized by white people, which is why we shouldn't take what he just said with any kind of seriousness, Jason Whitlock. Are you kidding me?
Not excuse what is happening to black people. What white people.
I'm not here to address that today. I'm here to stand for my community
I
today.
got it. Put him back on pause. Let me finish my point.
The black on black violence is an epidemic.
Could we mute him for a second? I'm saying that I'm more likely to be harmed by this pagan culture, far more likely than you. And so when you have
that is a lie, Jason Whitlock. And the reason that's a lie, Jason Whitlock, and you know it's a lie, Jason Whitlock, because the number one and only reason why you're not more likely to be victimized by so-called a YN is because you move out the black community into a rich white neighborhood. Just like myself, when I was young, I lived in the black community, and then my parents moved to Manteca. Then I went to Cal State Stanislaus, went to college, and then when I came back home, and it was decided, and I had to decide where I wanted to live, I chose not to live in the black community. I live in the upper class or upper middle class neighborhood that's predominantly white. And since I've been living in this neighborhood that's been predominantly white, I haven't even sniffed any crime. Barely see the police. And when as Black people, the reason why we move out of the neighborhood, because once we move out of the neighborhood into middle class white neighborhoods, upper middle class white neighborhoods, elite class white neighborhoods, guess what happens, Jason Whitlock? We no longer get victimized by Black folk. But your people that you live in that upper middle class white neighborhood who own the businesses, who owns, the jewelry stores that are being involved in smash and grabs, those that own small businesses where people are stealing cars and using those cars as battering rams to drive through their storefronts and rob those businesses that aren't Black owned, because if I let y'all Negroes tell it, y'all really don't own businesses that are really storefronts like that. But Jason Whitlock is going to tell this lie,
saying that I'm more likely to be harmed by this pagan culture, but far more likely than you. And so
that is not true, Jason. Well, that is a goddamn lie.
When you have a white rally, which is unbiblical, these problems aren't defined this way in the Bible. There's a history of human beings adopting pagan cultures that are self-destructive. And so when you wear the cross and portray yourself as a Christian, but you come up with non-Christian solutions, it's disconcerting to me. And so now I will let you respond to that. Take as much time as you want.
I haven't offered any solutions here. I have not offered any solutions yet. The solution that we're looking for, the reason why this protest is happening, is we are demanding that the killer, Carmelo Anthony, is put behind bars immediately. Jason, I have a very deep connection to this issue.
Stop. You see, Jake, and this is another area where I lose support for your movement. So you don't have any solutions. You don't want to propose any solutions. But what you want to see done is you want to see Carmelo Anthony be put back in jail. And unfortunately, that can't happen for you because the judge granted him $1 million bond. That bond was sent down to $250,000 bond. His family paid the bond, so he was released from prison and put on house arrest as the terms of his bond. What we can't do is go back and revoke his bond because we don't like where the so-called Black community is and we don't like Black culture. We can't do that, Jake Long, but go ahead, continue with your little soliloquy.
Spent 1,467 days as a January 6th political prisoner. I have no criminal record. I was never offered bond. I tried 3 times. They never gave me bond. I put up millions of dollars in the household property, in cash value, and I never got bond. I spent 900 days solitary confinement. There is a discrepancy, an unequal application of the law, a selective prosecution happening to white Americans right now. If the Black American community can understand 60, 70 years ago what was happening to them in the down South, where the...
Okay, Jake Long, I understand what you're trying to say. Back in Jim Crow's, when Black people were arrested for crimes, it was a lot of those cases, it was obvious they were innocent of those crimes, but juries always came back with a guilty verdict because they wanted to see the Black person locked up. And now you're telling me Carmelo Anthony, he murdered somebody and got bail. You was a January 6th rioter. You did what you did. You got caught. And because Donald Trump had a lot of political enemies and they were trying to sensationalize what happened on January 6th, you had to bite the bullet and you didn't get bond when it was obvious a situation where you should have gotten some kind of bond. I agree with you on that, but because you get done a disservice, Jake, by not getting bond, that doesn't mean we're going to revoke everybody else's bond because you didn't get bond. We can't do that, Jake Lang, because that's not right. But a lot of you individuals, when it comes to what's doing right and wrong, you don't want to do that. You want to put that aside, and whatever race that's on your team, you want the favorable outcome. And that's just not how life works. That's not how that's not how if we keep doing that, we're not going to fix the problem in the black community, because the people of the melanin love to run in the victim Olympics. And as long as you keep doing them bad, they're going to keep running in the victim Olympics, and they're always going to have an excuse for why they're in the condition that they're in and why they make the decisions that they make.
The judges and the juries were being inordinate and being selective and making sure that they had no chance of justice, then you must recognize that same thing is happening to our community. The black young men that are perpetrating violence on white men and white women across this country are in a revolving door of bail. In New York City, where I am from, and now I'm living in Florida, there is a bail reform act that literally puts killers, robbers, rapists, and all of these black violent perpetrators back on the street to perpetrate more violence on a predominant amount of white people. This is insane. We need to address the issues at facial value. We can't tiptoe around this thing. We need to call.
It's not just black perpetrators of crimes who have committed murder, robbery, and whatever violent crime, rape, whatever crime it is. It's individuals of all races getting bond. But I'll let you continue.
As a member of my community, now the black community, for even allowing this type of culture to pervade you guys. You need to deal with black on black violence on your own, but you also need to say, we are perpetrating violence against white people in mass. They are not safe in the country where they are the predominant race and heritage and culture, and this is not true. We are being very, basically, the white people in America have been quiet and been very patient for a very long time, and this is the first time there's an anti-white violence rally ever in America that I can name that has no ties to KKK or anything. I'm Jewish. And I love my black friends, and I love you, Jason, with all my heart. You are my Christian brother. We are in the body of Christ, but it is up to you and the members, the Little Gunna and Little Ty Savage and all these rappers. They are perpetrating violence with the culture they are spreading against my people that I represent. And I'm here today to make a stand. Actually, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central at Kai Kendall Stadium, the place where Austin Metcalf's blood is still fresh on the bleachers. Tomorrow in Frisco, Texas at 11 a.m., we will be praying in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We will be advocating for white safety, for white people to protect themselves against the violence that is being perpetrated against us. And of course, we will be addressing the issue of the violent gang culture that has basically usurped the entire black ideology in America and calling upon.
Stop the show, Jay Glenn, because you said you are fighting for the opera, for the right, for let me back it up.
Praying in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We will be advocating for white safety, for white people.
You're advocating for white safety of white people as opposed to advocating for safety for everybody, because everybody is fed up with the YNs. Everybody is fed up with people committing crimes regardless of the race. But you want to target black folk because they're doing it at a disproportionate amount. I agree with you on that. But if you only advocate for the safety of white people, what do you think the Asian folk gonna think? What you think the Arabs gonna think? The Latins gonna think? What you gonna think other fellow black folk is going to think that you're only advocating for the safety of one particular group.
To protect themselves against the violence that is being perpetrated against us. And of course, we will be addressing the issue of the violent gang culture that has basically usurped the entire black ideology in America, and calling upon our black brothers to stand with us and to extricate, to drive that out, to condemn that culture by and large, which I know you do, but it needs to be said, not just in a general statement. It needs to be said, the actual results of that culture are being not just perpetrated black on black violence. You can look at that statistic all day. I'm here as a representative of my community. I'm saying enough is enough. Enough black violence on white people in America.
Hey, let me ask you another question.
Oh my God. I just won $60,000 from my car crash from this app from my phone.
You've taken your identity, like you've bought into the same solution or the same identity that has helped walk black people into this pagan culture. They take their identity from their skin color rather than taking their identity in Christ. And so when I see people like yourself basically repeating the behavior of the people that you're protesting against or calling out and calling for repentance, but you're adopting the same strategy, and I think you think you're immune from the same consequences. Black racial idolatry led to this pagan culture that is destroying black people and undermining safety throughout America. And so when you adopt their tactics while claiming out the results of their, calling out the results of their tactics, that's when I have to question it. And then the last thing I'll say is where I started this show with. What I'm concerned about, what you guys are doing tomorrow, is there's going to be some sort of conflict that their defense team is going to use to argue, we got to have a change of venue. We can't have this trial in Collin County or Denton County where this actually happened. We got to move it to Dallas County where there's a higher percentage of getting black jurors on that jury pool, and they will go to jury nullification rather than justice. And so that's where I'm like, is this a setup? We're going to have some sort of conflict. And then the other side that I call out constantly, they're going to use that to push for a different venue for the trial. It's going to actually hurt Austin Metcalf and his family.
Let me address issues, Jason. First of all, in the biblical understanding that I have from reading the Bible about a dozen times in that solitary confinement prison cell, I see that the Lord raises up people from different communities and different backgrounds to advocate for not only their community and other communities. I'm doing a dual advocacy. I'm not only advocating for white people to be protected in America, but also to fix black culture. I'm not just, in one way going, an extremist route. I'm saying that this is, I want to see the black community not perpetrate black on black violence. If today, the result of today was that white Americans stop getting attacked, that would be great. But the job is not done there. If all of a sudden, miraculously, the black culture stopped perpetrating violence on white Americans, but tomorrow there were still hundreds of shootings in Chicago, that's not where we're done. We're willing to stand with you to help heal and fix and engender your community to come back to American excellence, the purity and the love of Jesus Christ that is supposed to pervade to all Americans. This is a Christian country. And so, I wanted to address that in the Bible, David fought for his people. When you have to fix your own house first before you can worry about fixing other people's homes. Right now, I'm here as an advocate for my community. And second of all, today's conversation topic is not necessarily about racism. It's about, because racism, God forbid, is illegal. It's legal in America. But we're talking about, if white people are racist against black people, but not perpetrating acts of violence, that's a different topic. We're talking about racism in black people that is actually incurring into violence, into illegal acts of violence on Americans. And so there may be a cultural problem on both sides with a little bit of hatred for each other right now that X is pushing and whatnot, and we can address that separately. But you have to say, even if there's a cultural problem on both sides, there's only one party that is by and large attacking and actually the other party. And so today I'm condemning black violence. Racism and that topic is a huge Pandora's box, and we can unload it another time. I'm here to make a stand today, say no more Austin Metcalfs, no more statistics of young white men being attacked by black people and being victimized and predatorized.
Stop. This is where we gotta stop your show, Jake Lang. The more I think about the Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony situation, your boy Austin Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony first. And once Austin Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, Carmelo Anthony does have a right to defend themselves. Now, I don't think pulling out a knife from his backpack and hitting him with a Mortal Kombat fatality was the answer. But he had a right to defend himself. So to use this particular case as opposed to using a case in which an actual black perpetrator of a crime sought out and singled out a non-black person to either rob, steal, kill, that would bring more substance to the argument that you're trying to make. I don't think this particular case gives you a strong enough ground to stand on. That's just my opinion.
We can deal with racism on another day, and truly the only one who can deal racism is the Lord Jesus Christ, because that is a condition of the heart. We're talking about a condition of the hands here. Actual guns and triggers being pulled and knives being plunged into young white men's hearts. That is what I'm here today to condemn. That's what I'm here today to stop and to call out upon the black community. Stop attacking my people randomly. The punch out games, the knockout games. They're doing it to Asians too. We saw that during COVID. The young black men were violently attacking Asians and Indians in the grocery stores. And this is a problem, not just for white Americans, but I have to address it from the stance of who I am, the identity of my bloodline. Through thousands of years, I have been passed through my bloodline, my culture, my heritage, and I have to honor the people that have survived for thousands of years.
Let me guess. You're thinking about going to therapy. And as a therapist myself, of course I'm going to say that's a great idea.
Say, my people, the white people in America, are done being victimized. We need to make a stand and to call it out for what it is. And so we're here today, and I ask you to join us, Jason, and say, I also stand with the ultimate goal. Put Carmelo Anthony back in jail and stop black violence on white Americans. Are you willing to stand with me today on that?
I want Carmelo Anthony convicted for murdering Austin Metcalf. I've been crystal clear on that, where I stand. I want him convicted for murdering Austin Metcalf. I'm concerned that your protest in Raleigh, Jake, you got to stop and let me answer your question. And we got to be able to properly engage. I'm concerned that the protest rally that you're going to do is going to harm the chances of getting a conviction.
That's problem with Jake Lang. Jake Lang wants Carmelo Anthony in jail now. That's not going to happen because he paid the bond. He's on house arrest. He has terms of his bond. He has to violate the terms of his bond to go back in prison. He's got his family hired a whole security team, and their number one job is to secure that family. And the number one job in securing that family is making sure that Carmelo Anthony follows all the terms of his bond agreement. So getting Carmelo Anthony in jail, that's something we can't do. Even if he wanted Carmelo Anthony in jail, there's nothing we can do to make that happen. Now you put Jason Whitlock in the trick bag, and he fell for the trick bag because he wants a conviction. See, Jason Whitlock shouldn't want a conviction. He should want a trial that puts all the evidence out. The knife that was used, the words that were said, who initiated the first aggression of violence, And then once all that is put on the table, then that jury decides guilty or not guilty. If the jury decides to convict, then based on the circumstances of the crime, the judge is supposed to render a fair jail sentence. See, too many of you Negroes and too many of you non-Negroes, you want an innocent, you want a guilty, you want blood, you want all this, that, and third. You know, you don't even advocate for a fair trial. That mother had to get up on that stand and advocate for a fair trial, because if it was up to you guys on the internet, if it was up to you Negroes on YouTube, you wouldn't want a fair trial. See, Grandmaster trial, I want a fair trial. I want to know exactly who said what, who did what, who was there. If it was videotaped by any witnesses, let's see the video. Let's put all the facts on the table. Let's pick up the knife and hold the knife to make sure that it was a real knife. Was it a switchblade knife? Or was it a cleat cleaner as it's been assumed on the internet? Let's see the knife. If Carmelo Anthony wants to take the stand and say his side of the story, let's listen to his side of the story. When Austin's twin brother, Hunter, goes up there and takes a stand, we can hear his side of the story. Then once we have all the facts, we could present that in a jury that both the defendants and the DA approved to be juries, and then they make a decision. And if they return a guilty verdict, then it's up to the judge to give out a fair sentence based on the context of what happened. Because if we're saying we want to give Carmelo Anthony the death penalty over this, that's not fair. If we want to give Carmelo Anthony a life sentence over this, that's not fair. Because based on what's being presented, Austin Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony first. Now, if it's shown that Austin Metcalf never touched him, then we may have a different verdict and a different sentence. But we should be advocating for all the facts to come out and having a fair trial. Then if there is a conviction, a fair sentence based on the facts of the trial.
Perhaps lead to a change of venue, which would hurt the chance of conviction. Turn his mic back on,
For
and please, I'm hoping he
this
listens.
violence against white people will not stand. We need you, Jason, as one of the main voices in the Black community to say Carmelo Anthony needs to be behind bars today, and Black Americans need to stop perpetrating violence on white Americans. The brainwashing that we are oppressors, that we are evil, is the reason why Carmelo Anthony plunged a knife into Austin Metcalf's chest. There needs to be condemnation, verbally and vocally from you on this topic. You cannot fence ride. You cannot be weak on this topic. Carmelo Anthony needs to be behind bars, and we need voices like yours, Christian strong men of faith, to say Black violence is unacceptable and reprehensible against white Americans. It is an epidemic. Why won't you say that, Jason?
Put him on pause. I'm going to answer his question, but mute him because I don't want him to cut me off.
He said, I don't want him to cut me off.
I want Carmelo Anthony convicted of first-degree murder because that's what I believe happened at this point. And there's a legal process. People are granted bond, and people accused of murder get granted bond, and if they can post that bond, they get released from prison. I don't want a protest rally to spin out of control and to let the defense team use it as an excuse to change the venue, which will make it less likely for Carmelo Anthony to get convicted of first-degree murder. That's my concern about your protest rally. That's my position.
The exact weak stance that has us in this position to begin with.
I didn't hear the first part. This is the weak stance.
I said that. I
that
said
has
with
us
all
in
due
this-
respect, Jason, that is the exact weakness from your community that has us in this position to begin with. Be very clear when you speak. Be intentional when you speak. You need to condemn this man. I was not given bond. Murderers who admit to plunging a knife into an unarmed 17-year-old's chest at a track meet do not need to be out on the streets. How could you ever be obtuse about your answer in this? Jason, I love you. Why would you? You're a father, aren't you? Would you, if this Rolls River killer at his house right now with his family, enjoying steak dinners and playing Xbox all day and living it up, he will be out on bond for 2 to 3 years before he's convicted. Are you kidding me?
Hey, hold for 1 second, Jake. We're having a slight technical. Take me the conversation. It's an instant gratification. Okay, now we're good. And Jake is still there. I'm hoping. Listen, there's an instant gratification of Carmelo Anthony being in jail. I would prefer that instant gratification. Just look at me. I like instant gratification. That's why I have, eating problem. I like instant, but I'm wise enough and live long enough to know we got to play the long game here, because I've seen these types of cases and things spin out of control, and I don't want us played here. And so I hear you putting the attack and putting the ball in my court. You want me to say X, Y, or Z. I don't want to control what you're saying, but I would like for you to answer the question. Are you concerned that the event you're leading could potentially lead to a change of venue out of Collin or Denton County, where there's more likely to be justice than if it gets moved to Dallas County or someplace else, so they can stack the jury with brainwashed, pagan culture, Black Democrat voters?
Ooh, wait a Jason. We gotta have an honest conversation, Jason Whitlock. If you're worried about a change of venue where the trial gets moved to Dallas or Houston, and they stack the jurors with Democratic blacks who are more inclined to return a not guilty verdict simply because Carmelo Anthony's black, what happens? What are your thoughts if it stays where it's at and the juror has 11 jurors that are white, 12 jurors, an all-white jury, and that jury only renders a guilty verdict because Carmelo Anthony is black? You see, Jason, like you can't have it both ways. You can't be worried about a change of venue, which brings it to an area where black people are more prominent, and therefore there's 3 or 4 black jurors. But if the trial stays where it's at and we get an all-white jury and you don't say a mumbling word about having an all-white jury, you'll be wrong, Jason Whitlock. Come on, Jason. You're supposed to be smarter than this, Jason.
And the next thing you know, we got a mistrial or we got some conviction on some weak charge rather than first-degree murder. Is that a concern of yours?
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for any reason.
Let me address. I will answer that. First of all, it's not instant gratification. It's justice, okay? That you can't. This is not. These aren't social issues we're talking about. To kind of play footsies with. There's a murder on the loose. He's at home. He could get mad and plunge a knife into another young man's chest at any moment from, just somebody walking up and delivering a newspaper at his desk. This is a man that has no control of his emotional grasp and will kill somebody again if given the chance. This is not instant gratification. That's justice. Second of all, our founding fathers are rolling in the grave right now with you trying to justify my ability or try to deter my ability from exercising my First Amendment God-given right and say, oh, there could be feds, oh, there could be violence, oh, there could be this, there could be that. All of those situations are outside the main purview. I have a right and I have a duty and honor. I need to honor Austin Metcalf and call for justice for Carmelo Anthony. Everything outside those two statements is fluff and cotton candy. This is the meat. We need to honor a young man that was killed in cold blood, and we need to call for justice of a murder that is out on the street.
Now, I got to agree with Jake Lang on that point. He has a right to protest. He has the right to advocate for justice for Austin Metcalf and demand that Carmelo Anthony's bond be revoked, and we got to stop YNs from committing crimes. Regardless if it endangers the public safety, regardless if there's a possibility a trial could be moved to a different venue, because when Martin Luther King and all the civil rights movements, when they was marching and doing all that, and they were marching for their human rights, the rights to be able to, eat at certain restaurants, to go here, to walk down the streets without being attacked. They had to march, and if it didn't matter if they were going to get beat up, shot, some people even got killed during those marches, but they had to do it because there was an injustice out there. So Jake Lang, he has all the right to go out there and protest, and we can't stop him.
You can make a million other topics around that, Jason, but I'm talking about strength. I'm talking about honor, and I'm talking about honoring God here and honoring a man that lost his life. Don't give me all these peripheral issues. Stick to the meat and potatoes. A dead man's blood is crying out for justice, and we need to back that man. My heart is broken for his family, Jason. Imagine being that man's family right now. This is a human time to be human. We need to grieve together. We need to pray together. This is not some type of political mantelpiece that I'm taking. I am a human being that is grieving, and I'm also a human being that has gone through years without being bonded out and understanding what that's like, for not committing violence, for being in true self-defense, for defending my country. And this murder is let out 12 days after he perpetrated such a grievous act of inhumane, animalistic behavior. All of it, we need to stay focused. Focus, justice, and honor. These are the things that matter to me, not about anything else that could spin out of control. And we are taking all steps. We are in contact. We just took a call from the Frisco Police Department. Officer Colvin, he is on it. We have separate locations for each individual, for the protesters and the counter protesters, the supporters of Austin and the supporters of Anthony, whatever the kind of Satanist rituals are going to be doing, blood sacrifices. I mean, I don't know how anybody could support that murderer, but there will be people showing up to support. We are going to run a safe and well-organized event. I can only do what I can do and work with the police and work with the community I represent and rely on Father God, whose angels will protect us with a hedge of protection and keep this focus on honoring Austin and getting justice against that murderer. And that's it. If you want to dissuade people from coming to this event by saying violence, beds, it's a setup, all that, you are making our founding fathers roll in the grave. We need to exercise our rights without fear in America. And that's what they wanted with January 6th. People to be chilled from ever speaking out against any injustice or any governmental overreach. And this is why we have a First Amendment, not to be scared and be like children hiding under our bed, but when there is injustice, we must stand. That's why our founding fathers' blood spilled for these rights that I'm exercising today.
Woo! He slapped that First Amendment card on the big table like black folks slap the race card like it's the big joker on the big table. What Jake Lang just said right there, I have to agree. He's got every right to go out there and protest, and people shouldn't be trying to stop him, trying to convince him not to, because they too scared of what may or may not happen.
Jake, let me be quick with this one, and then I have a follow-up question you can be a little bit more long-winded on. I want to be careful in terms of what I say, what I reveal, but I have been in contact with and have talked to people in the Austin Metcalf family. and this is before. I haven't talked to them about what you guys.
No, you've been talking to the Austin Metcalf family. Why don't you bring the Austin Metcalf family onto Fearless with Jason Whitlock so we can hear from the Austin Metcalf family as to actually what happened?
Guys are doing. I want to be crystal clear, but I have been in contact with people in their family, and I have genuine concern. I've spent a lot of time on this show. We mostly talk sports on this show. I've spent a lot of time talking about this issue on this show. Not trying to defend myself because it really doesn't matter. But
hang on, man. I'm putting in my zip code right now. No way. Look at that. That's my new quote, man.
have you asked anyone in the Austin Metcalf family, father, brother, mother, aunt, uncle, cousin, is this what they want?
Stop the show. In other words, have you asked the Austin Metcalf family for permission to march for justice for their son?
They want a protest. Do they think your protest will help them get justice?
So, no, I have not spoken to anybody in Austin Metcalf's family, and there has been a culture of oppression on white people in America to truly speak how they feel and say, I'm sure in the heart of hearts, Austin Metcalf's father, after being kicked out and embarrassed yesterday in front of the world, he was just there to simply, be a part of the grieving process of his son, see what the murderer and his family and the PR people, he was embarrassed yesterday. He couldn't even be present at something that has affected his life drastically. He was trespassed and removed by the police yesterday, like trash thrown out on the side of the street. And these are the type of topics that have been the white people in America have been pushed out of being able to feel like they can express themselves. That's why Derek Chauvin is in prison right now, because they were so afraid, the judge, of in sparking even a small little ounce of the Black Lives Matter furor and rage on America. And so the white people have been all this type of
see you can't use Derek Chauvin, because Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck until it was time to put him into a body bag. If he would have took his knee off his neck and not ride George Floyd for close to 8 minutes, Derek Chauvin wouldn't be in jail.
Submissive and held down. And right now we want to come and speak and feel like we can express ourselves and protest and talk about things that are leaving us in terror. And if Austin Metcalf's family is not spoken out on the exact same way I'm speaking right now, it's not because they don't feel that way. It's because they're afraid of the lashback of the Black people in America violently looting and rioting across America. That's the only reason.
Jake Later, that's nasty work to say that the Metcalf family is afraid to be on your side is because they're worried about Black people robbing and looting and being violent to white folk. Come on, Jake. You can't. There's no way you could possibly believe that. There's no way.
Just as bad, and then understand the terror that is happening to our people in this country all around, just as much as I ingrained and been suppressed deeply from being able to express this. And this is why me coming out of a prison cell as a January 6th political prisoner, I've been through the fire. I've been to the mountaintop, Jason, and I've seen what America could be. Amen? And this is not it. Making America great again starts with one of these fundamental societal issues, and we need to address it and fix it. We can't make America great again on policy. We need to change the spirit, the culture, the love we want shared for each. This is a fundamental thing that's going to make America great again. God and his spirit and bringing unity together, not trade wars with Panama and the BRIC system and all these peripheral issues. We have a poison that will destroy. America is sick. The antidote is unity through addressing issues with strength and not pussyfooting around these very gravest issues.
I got a final question for you. I'm going to take a brief second to respond what you're talking about. To me, the solution is alliance through Christ, and that we should be coming together as servants of Jesus Christ, and that's the solution. It's a little concerning for me as it relates to the Metcalf family, and particularly the dad's reaction is to kind of smear it or say, hey, he doesn't want to do this or that. I'm taking him at his word that he's a true believer and that he's trying to deny himself and follow the instructions that are given in the Bible and given from God of deny yourself and I will deliver justice to you. And so I think.
See, the problem with that, Jason Whitlock, I understand you're a God-fearing man, you believe the Bible, but when it comes to black criminality in period, violence in period, no matter who the perpetrator is, how can you get those folks to stop doing what they doing and they don't believe in or live by the word of God and don't care to, Jason? Well, that's my problem. That's my problem with these Bible thumping people. They think God could save, God could change, God could work miracles. This has been going on for year after years after years. Prayers after prayers after prayers have been said. Churches have been opened up all over the world. But here we are today. People are getting torn out the frame in the worst of ways. You need something more than God. You need God, and you need a politician, you need a law, you need a change of culture to fix what's going on.
I think his father is leaning into God and trying to let God handle this. Last thing I'll ask you, Jake, and then we got to go, is I'm sympathetic, very sympathetic to your experience January 6th and the show trial and the conviction and just the hardcore left-wing Democrat, black culture, pagan-loving jury pool and just justice system they have in D.C. I've spoken against it. I've paid and I haven't paid a price. But anyway, ostracized and demonized for being on y'all's side. And I didn't wait until January of 2022 to be on the side of January 6 people. I was there day 1, day 7, or day 2. I had a column out defending y'all, sympathetic. Only reason I voted is because I wanted January 6 people out of prison. Having said that, I'm aware, I know enough about the prison system and prison culture, which is a reflection of the black culture that the mainstream media has celebrated, the music industry has celebrated, the movie, TV industry has celebrated, sports leagues has celebrated, and it's all a promotion of a prison mentality. And I'm just a little bit concerned if the prison mentality, doing 4 years in prison and being in that very identity and racial idolatrous culture inside of prison, if it hasn't shaped or changed your worldview and you're offering prison culture solutions, let's group up based off race because that's how you survive in prison, and let's group up in the outside world based on race. And I'm 57. I've watched black people for 57 years think that there's these great benefits from racial alliance. And I've watched us destroy ourselves with that mentality. And I'm sitting here begging you and others, why adopt failed tactics? Why repeat the mistakes that too many black Americans have made, thinking the solution is for us to group up based on race, rather than to group up under the flag, under the identity of Jesus Christ. That is the solution. Jake, you got the final thoughts on this. I'd like for you to limit your thoughts and your final statement to about 3 minutes because I'm way late and I got to keep it moving. We'll have you on back again. Hopefully, maybe we'll have you on Monday and we can reflect on what happened this past Saturday. But try to do your closing argument here in about 3 minutes. And I want to thank you for the time.
Be a part of the biggest season of earthquake soccer.
If I'm still alive on Monday, Jason, by God's grace, the solution, the question you're asking, right, is about the weakness that we've tried to remain silent, right? That hasn't worked. We've tried to remain patient. That hasn't worked. We're addressing the issues right now. And that's what we're doing as a community. We're not looking to further divide. We have been divided. We have been suppressed. We are now coming together as white Americans and saying, stop the violence against us. We haven't tried this before. The reason why we're at where we're at right now is because we haven't been strong as a community. We haven't had this messaging saying we're fed up with being attacked because of our skin color. That's what Martin Luther King did, and that's why he was successful. Amen? Do you understand that? The reason why white people living in terror right now in America is because we haven't had people locked arm in arm, walking in peace in the name of Jesus. Like Martin Luther King said, we shall overcome this scourge of violence against our people. We haven't tried it, and I'm here tomorrow in Frisco, Texas.
Stop, Joshua. I just had a thought. I have to agree what Jake Lang just said, because the last time white folk stood arm in arm against black folk and made sure that black folk wasn't a threat, back in Jim Crow, back in slavery days, back during Reconstruction. Because if black folk were even thought to be out of line, them arm in arm white folks of the Jim Crow era, of the Reconstruction era, of the slavery era, they took rope to neck. And ever since they have fallen back, since the civil rights, and as we've gotten further away from Jim Crow, further away from the civil rights movement, there is a direct correlation from there. That strong unity that they had back then, as it faded away, the more wild these YNs have gotten. So I have to agree with Jake Lang on that point he just made.
Try, and I'm inviting you, if you want to see tomorrow be peaceful, be filled with Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. If you're asking who, and God's telling you, who shall I send? Say, send me, Lord. Come and speak, Jason. I'll buy your plane ticket, whatever you need. Come and speak with me. Stand shoulder to shoulder. I'm not going to be expressing racial hatred. I have not done that here today. Come speak with me. Come stand with me. If you want a peaceful event filled with God's Spirit, be there and come speak. And secondly, in the prison culture, talking about, first of all, I never was in a prison with more than 2 or 3 white guys in a unit together. And I was in mostly prisons with over 100 black guys, and I was a singular white man leading Bible studies with 15, 16 people jammed in there, Spanish and young black men, baptized over a dozen black men while I was in prison. I never got even close to the Aryan Brotherhood culture in prison. They didn't exist I was in Brooklyn, New York, Jason. They didn't have that. I wasn't in Texas prison where sometimes those things. So I never felt that. I haven't been changed by that. So, my experiences in prison, where I were attacked many times for being white and being singled out, and I had to show a lot of strength and a lot of Christian unity, saying, I'm not your enemy here, guys. Come to my Bible study. Don't try to rob me from my ramen soups. Come to my Bible study. I had people rob me from my ramen soups in the morning and came to my Bible study at night, repentant. I'm a Christian.
He had dudes taking his Robin suits, trying to take his booyah and then show up to Bible study like ain't nothing happened. That's crazy. Only black folks would do that. Rob you of your top ramen noodles in the morning and then show up to Bible study like nothing happened.
Jason, I'm looking for unity, and I'm looking for you to join me and other black leaders that are sick and tired of the people underneath your guys' umbrella attacking white people. It's just very simple. That's what we're just keeping very singular focus. You don't have to take this out of context. The black community should say, hey, we need to stop attacking white people. It's horrible, and we need to condemn it. And Carmelo Anthony needs to be in prison. Very simple. This is a very simple subject, simple solutions, simple prayers. God, protect us, keep us unified, and heal the divide, and heal the hurt that the black people feel in their heart, the brainwashing that they need to perpetrate acts of violence against white people because they have been misled and misinformed by the Democrats, the mainstream media, and the education system has told them that our entire founding fathers and our country was founded upon hate and racism and evil, and white people are oppressors. That needs to be condemned. We need to tell the real history, real story of the founding fathers writing, all men were created equal with inherent rights given to them by their creator. And the people that fought, 500,000 white people died in the Civil War to liberate slavery, black people from this country. That is an honorable thing. Black people should honor white people for eventually turning and saying this ideology, we'll die for it. We will die to get rid of slavery and get rid of oppression. That is what we should be lifted up. We should, the Union soldiers in the revolution and the Civil War should be lifted up for this brave act that they took, even against their own race, to say oppression is not worth. They went against their own race to say oppression against any race is disgusting. Why aren't those people lifted up? We need to change the history messages. We need to change the messages and push the goodness that has happened in this country, where the white people have invited in and fought for the rights and lift up the Harvey Milks. I mean, he was, God forbid he's homosexual, but he fought for the rights of black people and stuff like that. These are the people that need to be put on a pedestal and stop trying to, all the race baiting, the division in the classroom, in the mainstream media and stuff. It's their fault Austin Metcalf is dead, and we need to condemn it all and start from scratch. Let's build it back up. We need to get the Sunday morning culture of Black America dressed in their Sunday best, respectful with grandma, mom, and all the kids all going to church together, worshiping the Lord, dressed correctly, acting correct.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Black America dressed in their Sunday best, respectful with grandma, mom, and all.
Grandma, mom, and the kids going to church, all respectful. No mention of the men.
All the kids all going to church together, worshiping the Lord, dressed correctly, acting correctly, doing things correctly, as our culture in America requires from us to live up to a certain standard of excellence. That's what I'm calling for. I'm asking you, Jason, will you join me tomorrow in Frisco, Texas, 11 a.m. at Kai Kendall Stadium at the school where Austin Metcalf is murdered? Can you join me, brother?
It's Easter weekend. I'll be at church on Saturday.
He said, I'm not going. Just say I'm not going to Texas. I'm not going to Frisco, Texas.
Your sheep falls in a ditch on the Sabbath. It is right to do good on these holy days. To have some nice turkey Easter dinner is nothing. To stand up and stand with me and with this whole entire movement of justice and of unity is something. Jason, on Easter, we should be fighting for freedom and justice and equality and love amongst our brothers instead of sheltering in place and pretending like everything is all right. Am I right about that? Would Jesus be reclined at a dinner table away from where the drama
I won't be at
and the
church
sick and the hurting are,
on my knees and
where they are?
Jake, thank you. I gotta go.
He gotta go. I'm not going. We'll see when it's time to show up for the Black community and actually get some change. And you gotta leave the comfort of your own house, your own plans, your own job to go do it for the Black community. Black conservatives don't show up, period. And this is what your man Jason Whitlock right here. He had a chance to maybe save the black community, to bring an end to black violence. And all he got to do is show up for a rally in Frisco, Texas, shake the man's hand, walk with him, march, see what happens, see what's going on. And he don't want to do it because he'd rather stay where he at and eat turkey at mama house for Easter holidays. Ain't that a goddamn shame?
Thank you so much. We'll be monitoring what happens on Saturday. We'll invite you back on the program next week. Don't miss a second.
So that was the end of that. And then we had the rally. And then we had the rally. And in the rally, what happened at the rally?
Do you know if they reached out to Jeff?
They did not.
They didn't even.
So those of you that know, this is the individual who was with Austin the father of Austin Metcalf, at the press conference that the Carmelo Anthony family threw. So I guess he's working with the father of Austin Metcalf. I mean, he showed up to the rally.
Have not spoken to him in no circumstances.
Wow.
So he has an organization called Team Black Men Winning. Let's see. Team Black Men Winning. Let's see, what do we have over there for Team Black Men Winning? See if his organization pops up. Let's see if his organization pops up and we can see what his organization is about. Maybe you guys could check him out if you want to. So this is his website right here, team, where he's building leaders and breaking cycles. Let's see. What do we got? Where do I want to start reading from? I guess we'll start reading from right here. The history of the Holocaust is well documented and considered by some the most inhumane act in world history. Based on history and primary data, I would like to introduce you the constructive genocide of Black families in America and their residual effects. The process of constructive genocide started with physical slavery in the introduction of divide and conquer, constantly producing self-hate, political slavery, mass incarceration, the development of an entitled mindset, the formation of broken men, prosperity religion, miseducation, indoctrination, and the final nail in the coffin was hopelessness. Team Black Males Winning. Team BMW is a unique initiative that accumulates 12 years of rigorous research, trials, and studies based on primary data. It aims to combat issues like senseless killings, absent fathers, and generations of hopelessness by empowering Black males ages 12 to 26 willing to stand on business who are in middle school, high school, or college, a dropout in the streets, or a gang member. If you are tired of seeing your mom struggle, feel like nobody cares about you, want to own a business, and be ready to secure the bag, we have your back. So that's what they're about. Let me see. They got the hard truth. What is the hard truth? What they got under the hard truth? They got slavery, current downfalls for Black males include Black males abandoning their children. Shout out to Cynthia G. Political slavery, pacifying women. Shout out to the manosphere, the Black church, hopelessness, poverty mindset, entitled mindset, broken men, lack of discipline, slave mindset, ineffective black-led organizations, crab in the bucket mindset. Damn, how are you? You plan to fix all of that? You really think this organization could fix all of that? You really think this organization is going to be able to fix pacifying women? Are you Negro? Are you crazy? But I guess that would call me a hopelessness because I have no hope that you could fix all these problems. So you got a plan. Society introduces black males to sports at an early age, and when sports fail to fulfill the dreams of wealth and fame, and in the generations of hopelessness, it's either the music industry to the hustle game, or the hustle game to the music industry. Damn, this is cold blood. This is cold blooded right here. So I guess they have a plan. What is their plan? Okay, our detailed data-driven plan outlines a 4-step process that addresses the root cause of economic disparity. Solid foundation, certification, financial empower, entrepreneurship and skill development, home ownership initiatives. And you can download the free extra. So that's what this man got for a team black man winning. I find it very interesting. He has team black men winning, but you're basically saying black men aren't winning. But let's go ahead and listen to what you showed up to the rally with.
Okay.
So when I do this interview, that's what I'm going to ask her here in a minute. Like,
Great.
have you spoke with the father? And since I have, the father says he wants no part of this. Under no circumstances, he wants his kid labeled with what's happening here. So since they're going to give me an interview, I'm going to go do it.
Wonderful. We're all very excited for this.
So again, just because the father doesn't want them to do the rally, they still have a First Amendment right to do the rally. So he's going to do the interview, not to respond to listen, not to respond and make lives better for black men, but he's going to tell them and check them that you shouldn't be here because Austin Metcalf's father didn't want you to be here. So here we are. We already put ourselves in a losing situation but team black men are supposed to be winning. Let's go.
No reason to plunge a dagger into his heart like that.
100%.
There's no reason.
100%. See, this is my organization. I see it. And I travel across the country to reduce violence against black communities.
Thank you. I stand with you, sir.
On a regular basis. But today, I'm here on behalf of the father, Jeff Metcalf.
Okay.
And what he's asking you is to not use his son's image or likeness in what you're doing. You can do what you do, but that's not what he wants his son tied to.
Okay.
Out of respect for that family.
Now, I would ask Jeff Metcalf if he would be bold enough to act like a father of a deceased young man that was murdered instead of being somebody suppressed, worried, and he's going to spark the next race riots or some type of thing. He needs to stand for righteousness, not for the consequences of righteous actions always need to be taken seriously. He needs to be righteous before he is fearful. He is acting out of fear, not out of righteousness. He should have been on the top of the bus today. He should have been standing shoulder to shoulder with me.
Are you a father?
No, I am not.
I'm a father.
Amen.
I'm a father. As a father, there is this thing called grief. So let me tell you what's going on in his house. He's getting swatted. His only other son.
Who is swatting him?
Well,
Which community?
No, we don't know the community, but it's happening. That's on the police side.
So Austin Metcalf's family's getting swatted. I don't know about you. When Cynthia G got swatted, when Tariq Nasheed got swatted, whenever I seen somebody get swatted, the person that was doing the swatting, that person was never white. In fact, the person doing the swatting was always somebody of the melanin. But hey, we don't know. The police got to investigate. And if they investigate and see who was doing the swatting, then we know exactly who it was. But go ahead and continue.
Secondly, he has a son who's a twin, who his son died in his arms. So that means he needs to navigate that. Then his son, who's his only son, is getting death threats. So as a father, his hands is full. So the last thing he wants to be tied to is having this complex of race. So yes, violence is bad. Young black men are getting killed every day by young black men across this country.
Yes, but I'm not a member of that community. I'm a member of my community. My community is being victimized by the community of violent black.
But here's the problem.
You see what happens? You could talk that black on black crime all you want. You could talk that black on black crime all you want. But when they put the facts on you that black people are violating this non-black group, this non-black group, this non-black group, what are you doing to combat your people? Because those people you claim to represent so bad, those people you got on your shirt represent, you got all these initiatives and you represent them so bad, and they see that your initiatives ain't working because people still get knocked over the head and tore out the frame. What do you say to respond to that? Your people is out here hitting people over the head. What's up with that?
But here's the problem. When you stand up in the name of God, there's one body. And if you're not a part of that body,
I can read statistics. So I'm also a pragmatic human being. So I understand when there's a problem, it needs to be addressed head on. If you tiptoe around a problem, that's how you get to the end result.
So your biggest concern is the loss of white life by black people?
No, that's
not
your
concern.
I have concern.
The concern is a repeating pattern. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going on and on and on and on.
Stop the show. Stop the show. We got a black conservative who jumped feet first into what your boy Jake Lang got going on. Now, it's going to be hard to argue with that other black man because he's a black man. He knows what's going on in the black community. Once you start tiptoeing, once you start pussyfooting, once you start gaslighting and start telling lies, the black man right here, he gonna check you on it.
And we just can't ignore it any longer. If it stops, we're good.
So I have a question for you. Do you believe more white people are killed by white people or by black people?
Listen, by strangers, it's 2 to 1. Every single race in domestic issues, because we live amongst each other and uncles kill uncles or drunk at barbecues and stuff like that, it's always the same amount.
So your response is this.
Let me respond, please. Please let me respond.
Is your response that Mr. Metcalf needs to get on your bus and tell people that his son was killed, but he's not you? So what I'm saying is,
I'm telling you, I'm somebody that stands for what I believe in, and I don't cower when it's time to stand.
If your desire
it's because of fear.
My desire is that another Austin Metcalf does not happen next week. And if I was his father, I would stand righteously to say, yes, but I'm a man.
We all have common sense.
We know for his father.
Hold on. We know.
No, I'm speaking for white men in this country.
Are you a father?
White people in this country.
Are you a father?
Hold on one second.
Are you a father?
Hold on one second.
Are you a father?
I'm not, but listen.
Okay,
you see, that's what these Negroes, this is what these, I gotta say, this is a Democratic strategy. Are you a father? Do you have kids? Do you have kids? I don't need to be a father. I don't need to be a grandfather. I don't need to have kids to see that a group of people is doing some of the most heinous acts to another group of people at such an alarming rate that I'm just going to ignore it. It's gotten so bad now that you can't do that, to where you have to address the problem. You have to do rallies. You have to put it on Front Street. You can't be quiet about it no more because too many people are dying.
When I talk to non-fathers who are not dealing with grief, you've talked for an hour. So if you want to address, I can give you after I give this message. The bottom line is this. You have a father that's out of respect asking you not to put his son's face in a place. How do you say you're going to represent people when you can't respect the will of the people?
Let me respond, guys.
You see, you see how your boy just gaslit Jake Lang right here. He said, let me back it up.
Asking you not to put his son's face in a place. How do you say you're going to represent people when you can't respect the will of the people?
How can you represent people when you don't respect the will of the people? You see, the people want no violence. The person wants his face not to be on a website or whatever it may be. I don't know about you, but what's more important, to stop violence happening against people or a face being used on a website? See, now we're trying to deflect to, well, we can't fix criminality because you got his son's face on your website and he didn't want it there. You gotta stop this. You see how we keep pussyfooting around the subject?
Let me respond, guys. There's too much peanut gallery.
That's not what his father said. His father did not say that.
Can we please let me respond?
So you believe?
Hey,
you believe?
I'm having a conversation between you and I. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Austin Metcalf is no longer Austin Metcalf. He is a symbol. He is a symbol of young white people being predatorized and victimized.
So now he's giving his case. Instead of the man listening to the conversation, he's just trying to call up Austin Metcalf's dad and put him on the phone because he don't want to address the problem in the community. And he got a whole website about how he want to fix the black community, but somebody want to fix the violence in the black community. He don't want to listen to it. Ain't that something?
Every single day living in fear. He is living in fear. Our people in this country are living in fear. Austin Metcalf is no longer just his son.
Jeff, hold on, Jeff. Do me one favor, because there seems to be an issue that you're okay with Austin's name being plastered with this particular movement. Now, I've already addressed that. So now I want you to say one more time that you agree with your son's name and face being attached to this movement?
Hey, Jeff Metcalf, this is Jake Lang here. I wanted to talk to you and not be led into a question. This is an illegal argument. It's called leading.
Do you agree with your son?
Can I have a conversation with you?
No, because you could have called him before that. You could have called him out of respect.
I've been reaching out. I'm one of the biggest figures in America.
Jeff,
nobody's ever
I've given your message. I've given you your message, and here's the
all
response.
family members, everybody I could find.
I've given you your message, and here's the response.
You're not giving my message.
Guy
You're giving your message.
What he said was this.
What he said.
I said, Gasly, you're not giving his message. You're giving your message.
It was this. He said that you, as a father, should be on the bus with him, delivering the message that he's delivering. Unfortunately, he's not a father, and the gentleman with is not a father. Maybe they don't understand what loss is. But at the end of the day, I've given your message, and they thought that it wasn't your message.
Let me have 1 minute of my message
Call
to Jeff
him.
Metcalf.
Call him.
Okay, what's his number?
He's on the phone right now.
So, Jeff, do you? Huh?
This is not a good faith discussion.
Okay, hold on. Here's Jeff. Hold on. So, Jeff, go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jake Lang here. Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing.
You grew up in fear around black people? Okay.
People around me all the time, and I don't understand as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you've chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression. Why will you not stand with me and with the rest of the people? We're not calling for racial divide. We're not calling for hatred. We're saying 350,000 attacks on white people by black people a year in this country is wrong. Why can't you stand that and say with that? Maybe you can. would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today. Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide.
Oh man, Austin, Jake Metcalf, he had a chance. He should have said, you know what? I don't agree with everything that you're doing, but I'm willing to talk to you in person. And that's all he had to say. But he said, fuck you and your rally, basically. That's basically what he said.
Sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I'm giving you time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem. You've been submitted.
Hold on, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted.
He said he'll handle it from here.
Sir,
You're not gonna make
if
us
we
back
were all,
down.
if we were all of your nature,
Guys, listen.
You're
let me
not
say
gonna
this.
save
what a
us.
weak
Not
man.
Do you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit
He said, I'm talking to a black man.
here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with Black
No,
Males Winning,
Google that.
but they're not winning right
what
now.
you're doing.
Oh no, black man catching strays right now. He said, I see your organization right there, black men winning, but black men are winning right now.
They're becoming.
Okay. You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with Black Males Winning,
Google that.
but they're not winning right now.
You're doing,
they're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing
and murdering white people.
You're not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. No way.
Silent is not helping.
January
You've been
6th?
silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
Look at another black man. He got his arm around him. Damn, you cannot make this. You cannot make this up, right? You got another. He calling black men degenerate, saying they aren't winning, and he got a black man with his arm around him. And this is why I can't be on the side of Jake Lang. As much as I wanted to root for him, I knew where this was gonna go. I was hoping it wouldn't go here, so I planned to watch this from afar, check in, moderate this, monitor this situation, see what could happen. Not a lot of people showed up, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, Jake Lang, the rhetoric that you use is not going to unify the people to stop black violence at the end of the day.
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you? Did you stand for?
I help in America. Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with Black Males Winning. Google that. But they're not winning right now.
You're doing,
they're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing.
I just may have to clip that quote right. I may have to clip that quote right there. Can you say that? Can you say that? Hold on. Can you say that one more again?
Google that. But they're not winning right now.
Just back it up a little bit more.
My name is.
I agree with Black Males Winning.
Google that.
But they're not winning right now.
My name is.
I agree with Black Males Winning.
Google that.
But they're not winning right now.
What you're doing. My name is.
I agree with Black Males Winning.
Google that.
But they're not winning right now.
What you're doing.
They're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing
and murder.
I have to clip that. I'm definitely going to clip that as soon as this live stream is over.
You're not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. No way.
Silent is not helping.
On January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you? Did you stand for your country?
So you think that made you patriot because you showed up there? Does that make you a patriot?
Joe Biden,
because you showed up.
All you're doing is condemning us. What's your solution?
My solution is to help people where they're weak. So we have an issue in young black males' lives across the country.
It's not
doesn't
that's
matter.
a Jeff Metcalf.
How can you get up here and say? How can you get up here and say
they're weak? So we have an issue in young black males' lives across the country.
You have issue with black men all across the country, and then when somebody calls you out on it and needs to be fixed, you don't want to join up with him. All because he's got somebody's son on the website who was killed by a black man. And we all agree dying over a seat under a tent is no reason to kill somebody. Somebody grabbing you to remove you from a seat under a tent is no reason to kill somebody.
It's not what say that to Jeff Metcalf. Say that to Jeff Metcalf.
We talk about it, man.
Say it.
At the end of the day, the man is asking. So let me ask you this: you got a father who's grieving. And your response is he's weak.
My father is celebrating my strength right now.
You have no idea. You'll never win the Senate. And what I'll do, I'll come to Florida and run for Senate and run as a Republican, and I'll kick your butt.
Well, you lose, bro.
He think he gonna run in Florida as a black Republican and win the Senate seat. Good luck with that.
Guaranteed years of presidency in Florida.
Because this behavior is why we're in the situation where we are.
No.
We get these. Is that what it is? Okay. Well, at the end of the day, he's asked you what to do and what not to do.
Listen,
you have a right to do it or not do it.
You can say nothing about Austin Metcalf, but we're going to continue this movement. I love somebody.
You love the thought of using Austin for T-shirts, for propaganda, and to get out here and talk about
you want to shut down a white man right now.
I'll shut you down.
You're not shutting me down. I'm not raising money like
because I got family.
I'm not raising money like
put down anymore. No, bro, you stop. You came here to try to shut him down.
No, I came here to give him a message from a father.
And listen,
but I realized that's not his deal.
Let's be honest, you're a black man trying to shut him down.
I'm an American. First.
No, man, you don't.
I'm an American. No,
I am.
I'm an American.
I am. You're not. That's why I'm here. You want to silence him.
No,
you want to
I'm
shame
an American.
I've seen it happen over and over. It's not foolishness. You've done nothing. You have not worked on anything. It's not changed nothing. We're here to try something different to stop this.
So what's the difference?
The difference is we're actually coming out here with courage.
Saying what?
You just want to silence people.
No.
Saying that white people can't be put down anymore.
I listened to you. I listened to you for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It wasn't substance.
And you were raging.
You had more people
you were raging. What substance is then? What's
one dead, the 17, another one who's in jail.
He's a murderer.
And
it happens all the time.
Who's been
charged? We tried your way. It happens again and again and again and again and again. It doesn't stop.
At the other day is this. You probably bought that hat for me. Those flags, I probably sold you those flags.
You're not a trumper, brother. You're not a trumper. I understand what being a Make America Great Again patriot means. And it means addressing issues without being a pussyfoot around it. Don't tap dance around the issues. Address it. Black people are killing white people in this country, and it needs to stop. We are being predatorized in our own country. We are being predatorized in our own country, and it's a weakness from Jeff Metcalf and people like you that is continuing the culture. Condemn Carmelo Anthony, condemn. Why are you confronting me? What if you call Jeff Metcalf and say there's a young black man with a Carmelo Anthony jersey on parading his son's death? When I'm standing strong against the murderer.
My name is Trump. Since you say I'm
standing strong against the murderer.
I want you to learn. I know.
President Trump pardoned you.
It doesn't matter, guys.
President Trump, that doesn't matter.
No,
President Trump.
No, he probably should have got pardoned. He probably should have got
President Trump.
No, I'm a man.
You're
not a man. Not Trump supporter then. If you should have pardoned Trump supporter, you did not get due process. You're not getting him pardoned.
Here's the problem right here.
Dude, he's a waste.
You all follow a man off the cliff. I'm a man. I will call anybody wrong.
Did not make that stand.
You won't call him wrong.
Who won't?
You just want to
When Trump is wrong?
Stop the show. Stop the show. Stop the show. And this is why black folks can't get anywhere. This is why there's problems in the community. If the people who have organizations and different community initiatives and who plan to run for Senate of the state can't have a civil discourse, how in the hell can we expect YNs to have civil discourse when they have a disagreement out on the street? When this is the example we put up there, we got Cassandra Brown says this is an L for black man, and we got the president of the organization Black Men Are. How can you say, hold on, how can you fix your mouth to say black men are winning when your whole initiative of the history of why black males and all the problems you're trying to fix, and you outline insurmountable problems for the community to fix? That's all I want to know. Black males abandoning their children, political slavery, pacifying of women, the black church, hopelessness, poverty mindset, entitled mindset, broken man, lack of discipline, slave mindset, ineffective black-led organization. So here we have another ineffective-led black organizations that wants to talk about other ineffective black-led organizations. Crab in the bucket mentality. When he was talking about fixing the black community, did this man with the cowboy hat, did he mention any of those problems that are plaguing black men? And why that may be leading to black crime and the victimization of white and black people and non-blacks? Did he talk about that? No, he did not. No, he didn't. In fact, we're sitting here arguing in the parking lot, getting nothing done, because he's not going to take Austin Metcalf off his website, and he's not going to stop marching.
I'll call Trump.
I see it right
there. Then we got a black man with a White Lives Matter shirt on. Ain't that something?
Was it wrong for me to tell that woman to be quiet? No, it was wrong for her to spray you with that mace. All right, so me standing up for what I believe and getting sprayed for it. And that she's wrong, so hopefully you press charges and she's prosecuted.
So is Donald Trump wrong for pardoning me in the January 6th?
I don't know your role, but if you're wrong,
I had the most violent charges of all the January 6th. They were calling out black people for doing bad things. So you don't agree with being a 1776 patriot and fighting for your country? Would you believe the founding fathers are right to
the founding fathers were right on some things and they were wrong on some things?
I'm talking about tyranny. Were they right against standing against tyranny?
No,
are we right against standing against black violence? It is tyranny. We are living in tyranny. It is the same tyranny. It is the same tyranny.
If your concerns about black violence and racism against white people, why are you not talking about what's going on in Philadelphia? Why are you not talking about
I'm talking about black violence against white Americans.
Oh, stop the show. He said, if you so against black violence, why aren't you talking about black violence in Chicago, Philadelphia, St. Louis? Now, in those cities and states, there may be black on black crime, but there's also black on non-black crime that he could be addressing. But he came to this state in which a black young man did take the life of another black young man, but there was some circumstances that led to it. It wasn't like Carmelo Anthony sought to kill Austin Metcalf. That's clearly not what happened.
You want to talk about cities. Detroit is one of the most unlivable cities in America. Up until the 1950s, Detroit was called the Paris of the West. Why is that? And why is that no longer the case? Because it's unlivable due to black crime.
Dude, I'm slow. I just now recognize it.
Every minute you say that's not an issue, you are
a community that I
Saying white
represent.
people are
I
being
also
targeted.
represent other communities.
So you're being
Republicans.
disingenuous. You're trying to shut him down. You're trying to shut him down. Yes, you are. You're trying to shame him.
You are a black man.
I agree with you.
You are a black man. No matter
You put a cowboy hat on and get him to say that.
You are
not even
member
see
of
the
your
event.
community.
Let me ask you
You're
something.
mad. No, hold on. You're mad because he's calling out black people for doing wrong. Yes,
I
you
don't
are.
care, son.
You care. That's why you're here right now. That's why
I
you
call
came
out
here.
black people
We're not
every
stupid.
day.
We see what you're doing.
One question.
We see what you're doing.
Should Carmelo
I
Anthony?
know you have white family members like I do.
Philip.
I'm tired of it.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Carmelo,
I think
should
you're here
Carmelo
today.
not have any injuries on my indictment? Why was I left?
$500,000 raised for Carmelo Anthony because he killed a white
So I have two problems.
What's your issue?
I have two problems.
Yeah.
So no, hold on.
If
When
Carmelo
you-
Anthony
when
was
you-
your neighbor,
hold on.
would you allow your children to go play with him right now? Carmelo's your neighbor. He's home on bond. Would you send your children over to go play Xbox with him right now?
I don't know the kids.
Exactly, because he doesn't
You don't know?
music.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hold on.
I know you were here today.
Why?
You're just mad that he's calling out the problem of black people killing white people. Yes, that's exactly what I think.
You don't see
You're
That's
for
why I think
black
you came
males
here to
winning.
start
How
some
about for
shit.
black males murdering? Are you against that?
100%.
I think that I
so
think
why
Austin
Carmelo
was
Anthony? Why
a
should be
black
given the
kid.
opportunity to kill the next person that says, "Hey, can you get maybe move over a couple inches?"
I'm
He's
saying
defending
he
a white
clearly
paper
murdered
boy
someone.
that's
He
going to
didn't
jump
say
on the
stop
paper.
Now, Jake Lane, that's a bad argument because Carmelo Anthony is not a risk to the public because he's on house arrest. In other words, he can't leave his house and he has an ankle monitor on. So people going over to his house where he lives and asking him to leave his bedroom, and if he don't want to leave, then somebody has to put their hands on him for him to leave his bedroom to give him a chance to defend himself and go above the means in which we all agree, which is unnecessary. See, now you're being disingenuous, Jake Long. Now you're being disingenuous.
He's not get out on bail. He's a danger to the community. If I killed your son, would you want me out on the streets right now?
You kind of agree with me?
He's not on the streets right now. He's on house arrest.
Agree with you on
Let
the
me
bond.
say this.
The issue is hold on. I kind of agree with you on the bond, but
come
no,
on,
hold on.
Murderers
He don't
getting
want you
done.
to be a man.
Hold
He
on.
wants you to
That's
follow
not what I'm
him.
saying. That's not what I'm
Righteous.
saying.
What
I'm saying is that you're being silent about the issue of black crime. You're
Exactly.
saying, oh, what about
Yes, you
Detroit? What
are.
about St. Louis? Those cities
They're
are
racial
unlivable.
tribalists.
Those cities are unlivable, not because of Indians.
So you just said
not
I'm
'cause of
being
Chinese.
silent.
I
I'll
think
tell you what
are.
I'm doing
I
since
think
you don't
you're
know
running
me.
cover for
Since
black
you don't
crime.
know me.
You're running cover for
So
black
since
crime.
you don't know me, Google my name,
I
Bruce
don't
Carter,
care.
black on black crime.
I can
Hold on.
Google his
And
name.
I'm holding a meeting this Tuesday where I've called on the mayor, the city manager, Dallas County, and DISD.
Do something real
you
and
have
say,
a problem.
get that man back in jail. If you're going to hold a
He
meeting.
doesn't need to be in jail, son.
Okay, so then put your kids over. Let's schedule a play date. Your father. Let's schedule a play date. He's not a danger to the
So
community.
here's the problem.
Let's schedule a play date.
My name is Bruce Carter.
Let's schedule a play date.
So here's the
Carmelo
problem.
Anthony and little baby Bruce.
Okay, I gotta go.
Anthony, little baby
I gotta
Bruce.
go.
Okay, now,
This is Wick Studio, built to meet any person.
That's the end of that video. So that was pretty much, you know, the good part of the rally that they at least showed. I guess I'll check for more, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna drop the link. So if people want to come up and talk, they can come up and talk to your boy, the Grandmaster Troll. But this is what's going on. Now we gotta go Google. We gotta go Google Bruce Carter. Look up his background. Okay, the only Bruce Carter I know was the Bruce Carter that played football with the Cowboys. I knew that Bruce Carter. Is that the same Bruce Carter? Hold on. No, that's different. He looked too old. Let's see. Bruce Carter, black man winning. Okay, we got BruceCarter.com. So we looking at his stuff. I mean, let's look at Team BMW. who on the team. They ain't got no pictures or nothing. I mean, I googled the name Bruce Carter. Ain't nothing really popping up. It looks like another. If I had to be honest, it looks like another political grifter to me. If I had to be honest, somebody who started up a nonprofit LLC to get some grant money to where they could pay themselves a nice salary off that grant money. That's pretty much what I see. That's pretty much what I see. But let me see what else happened at the Protect White America Protect White American Rally. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see what else we got. Okay, we seen that. We seen all of that. Okay, we get some talking right here.
That's good. So just do that because it feels comforting. Because when you
Black and white together, we're standing against black violence against white Americans. It's very simple.
We got somebody to join the show. Let's see who we got in the building. Who we got?
What's up?
We got Ban Garcia in the building. Ban Garcia, tell me.
You like my avatar? You like my avatar of Killer Carmelo?
Man.
Flipping you off?
What's up with your boy Carmelo Anthony taking selfies with middle fingers and stuff, man?
I don't know why is that's I heard that's very common in the black community.
Man,
for some reason, black guys like taking pictures of them flipping people out so everybody could see.
Oh, they got pictures of themselves flipping people off. They showing guns.
Them and black guys and white chicks for some reason. They like taking pictures of them like flipping people off.
I know. They got the middle finger in one hand, the gun in the other hand, and the blunt in the mouth. Just breaking all kind of laws and don't even know it, huh?
Yeah. So what do you think is going on with this whole Carmelo? Mello Carmelo?
I mean, but when I first heard the story, I thought Carmelo Anthony was in some deep trouble, but he made some couple of nice maneuvers. He played the race card. He got himself a team. He raised $500,000, and when you can raise $500,000, you become a cash cow. And when you become a cash cow, the Democratic black leaders will come a running, as we saw. And now,
but what do you think? What do you think is going to happen once they lock him back up?
I mean, at best, at the most, he's getting 3 to 7 years.
You think so?
Yeah,
kill somebody.
Okay,
for murder.
So if you walking down the streets,
manslaughter is 10 years. I heard.
If you walking down the streets, Ban Garcia, if somebody tells you to leave, you don't leave, and then they put their hands on you, do you have a right to defend yourself?
Yes. Yeah, you do, but
I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that. What do you mean you see?
That's up to I guess that's up to the judge to decide. Like I told somebody else, if the force that he used to repel his fear was equal to whatever fear he had, I don't know if it was justified. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but even if you don't agree with the force, if they do find him guilty, there's going to be mitigating circumstances that's going to lessen the penalty that he will get.
I don't think so. I
You
think
don't think, don't think so?
they're gonna get him.
Well,
And
so what you're telling me? Somebody who does a drive-by shooting should get the same time for somebody who use excessive force when they were rightfully able to defend themselves. They should get the same amount of years in prison.
if they killed somebody, yeah.
So you're telling me somebody who does a drive-by shooting,
If they murder somebody, yeah.
somebody who loaded up their guns, got in their car, thought out of a whole plan to go shoot and kill somebody, should get the same years in
It
prison.
doesn't matter how you kill somebody. It matters that you killed them. It doesn't matter how you killed them.
It does matter.
Well, does it matter if you get on a car and you run them over? Will that matter?
Yeah, it matters.
Is there a difference?
Let me ask you this: does somebody who does a drive-by shooting, do they get the same time as somebody who killed somebody while driving under the influence?
They should. I'm not sure. But they should.
But do they?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't keep track of all this law stuff, but. But hold a minute. Wait a minute.
Interesting.
Well, they've said that there's a video footage out there. A couple of people took footage, right? You heard about this, right?
Yeah, I heard about it.
And why aren't we able to see the footage?
Maybe there's no footage. Maybe the DA.
No, they already said there is footage. There is footage.
Who?
One of the prosecutors are right there. They said that there's footage when they asked them.
I haven't heard any police.
Yeah, there's footage.
Any prosecutors or DAs saying that there's footage. The only people I've been hearing saying that there's footage are internet keyboard warriors.
No. There's footage. There's news report.
Can you provide the link of the news report saying that?
Man, you want me to go?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm right here talking to you right now, man.
I would love to review that footage. Hold on. In fact, let me go ahead and see if I could Google the footage.
Yeah, it was a white guy.
Footage of the
hello
Anthony Stabby.
A reporter asked the question, and it was like during a live. I think it was the police or somebody out there in Texas, or one of the prosecutors got asked the question by one of the reporters. I'm not lying, man.
I'm not saying you were. I just wanted to see that.
I'm just saying that the reason why I just wanted to say that the reason why they're not releasing the footage is because they want to get everybody all rattled up. Because it would show right away, I don't know, his innocence or his guilt. And that would end the whole thing of all this black and white. Oh, he's right. They want this to keep on going. They want a division to keep on going. You know why? Because I think they want more riots. They're mad because Donald Trump is president right now. They couldn't hurt him. They couldn't kill him. So they want riots. They want this to happen.
So when I Google for the video footage, when I go through all this, none of the major news outlets have it. But
nobody has it. Nobody has it.
I know nobody has it, but I can't find where somebody would say that the DA or the police has collected evidence, but the only time I do see it is when a keyboard warrior right here says Texas authorities now have video of Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony's confrontation before a fatal stabbing. The release of the video evidence will be eye-opening when it comes to Carmelo's self-defense claims. But they don't have no link to back up their claim. It's just internet keyboard warriors making claims with no sources being cited.
See, it's all this is being done on purpose, man, to confuse you guys, man, to divide white. I'm telling you, I seen it on the news. The guy said that they have the footage, but they're for some reason they're gonna withhold it, I guess, as evidence or something.
I don't know. What was that? Was that put into the police report? That they got evidence of the stabbing? That's all I'm trying to say. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is, have you heard of the term useful idiots?
Yeah, I heard of the term.
You don't think they're trying to use people up as their little idiots to get them all rattled up with all this division?
Nah, because ain't nobody getting riled up.
No?
The close to the rile up you got was that little argument that I seen. A white lady spraying another white man with pepper spray, and then a black man wearing a Carmelo Anthony All-American McDonald's jersey to the Protect White Lives Matter rally.
Have you heard of the word going around right now? Black fatigue.
I haven't heard that term. Black fatigue. Nope.
I guess it's the new code right now going around. I guess.
What's that?
White people are just tired of black people's antics, I guess.
Okay, if they don't even want to march with the Jake Lang, who's basically his whole rally is around black fatigue, and nobody want to march with him.
Look, man, it's I guess you heard of this guy Scott Adams, right?
I haven't heard of Scott Adams.
The guy that got the cartoonist from Dilbert. Cartoonist, what is it? She's pretty much the guy that came out saying that white people should separate or move away as far away from blacks.
Okay,
because blacks are pretty much a hate group now. You guys are a bunch of haters now, going around hating on everybody, man.
And where can white people move to where they're far away from blacks?
There's a couple of states still that have not many blacks, like
Wyoming.
I would go to Utah. That's pretty white.
Mm-hmm.
Utah's pretty white.
And is there a mass migration happening in Utah right now?
Maybe that's why all the white people are going over there. I don't know, but see, they did a survey, pretty much, with black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after the survey came back, it showed that 50% of black people have a problem with white people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty high percentage, man. If 50 out of 50, half of you guys hate on white people, so why would white people even be around you guys, man? You should just stay away from you guys. If you guys hate white people so much,
Well, I believe that the majority of those people who say they have a problem with white folk is because of what happened back in slavery and Jim Crow.
we're not in slavery days, man. Come on, man.
Hold on, let me finish. They have a problem
Orale
with
Holmes. Orale Holmes. Go back to
Orale, homie. I'm Mexican. I'm not Chicano.
so they have a problem with Jim Crow and slavery and how they were put at a disadvantage and they weren't given their reparations.
Hey, GMT, you know that ain't true, man. You know they moving to the hood. You know some of them moving back to Oakland and you hear
Oh
me?
yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, you know they moving back with the gentrification. You know they moving back to the hood, West Oakland, Frisco.
So why would they move back to where the so-called people who they don't like who are involved in this crime lives at?
I know you got to ask them. Tell you the truth, I don't know why they moving back. Maybe it's cheaper, or most of them. Shit, I heard most of them black folks. Some of them cities leaving the Bay, moving to Stockton or Fresno. But I said most of the people, white folks that's moving in, that's coming down here, is probably from other states though. It seemed like from the East Coast and shit. But we gotta ask one of them folks why they moving. Why they moving to West Oakland?
Maybe because they don't got enough money to move anywhere else, man. So the economy.
Let me ask you guys this question. The task of stopping black violence, how can you stop YNs from wreaking havoc?
I have a couple ideas.
That's in their communities.
I have a couple ideas that would work.
What's that?
All right. First, you label these black gangs as
What about the
terrorists.
Mexican gangs? What about the Mexican gangs?
Them too, sureños.
Okay, I want to make sure. No, all of them, Mexican, white
all
gangs
of
too.
them.
The Asian gangs, okay, all gangs.
Label them all as terrorist organizations and ship them out to El Salvador, and that way they don't mingle with the general population and influence the general population, because that's how they recruit new members. These thugs, man, in jail. You got to separate the rotten apples from the kind of all right apples, I guess.
And how do you determine if somebody is in a gang or not?
Ah, come on, man. There's history. The tattoos.
Mm-hmm. So they have that. So they have
social media.
So they have a gang tattoo. They got social media.
Yeah.
If they're putting up gang signs.
You put them all together over there in Salvador, ship them out there. They want to be in gangs. Put them all gangs together. They're gonna be in paradise. They're gonna be living it. They all want to be in gangs. So they're gonna be a little section of this gang over here. Oh, they should do it like they're doing it with the MS-13 and the Barrio 18. They should put Crips and Bloods together in the same cell and make them get along.
You can't make somebody get along.
Yeah, you can. They're doing it right now in El Salvador. They got 18s and MS-13s sharing the same cells and stuff. Yep.
And then when you release them, how are you going to ensure that they keep getting along?
No, you don't release them. You keep them in there for life.
So you're going to keep them in there just for being in a gang?
Yeah. For terrorizing your the community.
But what if they're in a gang? They don't do any criminal activity. They're just in the gang because they don't want to be victimized by the gang.
It don't matter, man. they're supporting a gang. Even if you know what, even if they're uh their boyfriend is a gang member, they should lock up the females too. That's what they're doing in El Salvador. Lock up the females too. They want to be banging these pookies and these sureños.
So if you have a kid and he joins a gang, are we locking up the parents because their kid joined the gang?
Mm, no, but
Why not? If we're putting the boyfriends and girlfriends, if we're throwing them away, why not the mother and father?
well, if they have any gang affiliations, you
Okay.
should lock them up. There's a lot of multi-generational, especially like in the Chicano community, where the grandpa, the dad, and the son are all gang members. Lock them all up.
Now, who's going to be tasked with bringing this new legislation forward and signing it into law?
Donald Trump.
Well, what you want him to do? You want him to sign an executive order?
Yeah, to label all the gangs, not just MS-13 as terrorist organizations.
Okay.
Label them all as a terrorist. That's what needs to happen.
Okay. How you feel about that? 40-ounce bounce. How you feel about that?
Man, I don't see that shit happening.
Why not?
To El Salvador?
Why not?
You think they gonna ship Americans to El Salvador?
If they're in gangs and that gang has been determined to be a terrorist group, why not ship them to El Salvador?
I don't see that happening, but if it does, I wouldn't be surprised.
You could ship them to Guantanamo Bay too, you know.
Yeah, well, they probably just built a new jail somewhere. It's maybe like in the little we call Midwestern small towns.
You know, there's a
jail.
lot of uninhabited islands in California that we hardly even know about. So there's islands off
in the
of
Bay
our
Area.
shores. Yeah, they should send them all out there, man.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, GMT. I'll say, man, are you in the same team with your boy Eggy, man?
Am I in the same team? What you mean by that?
About the Carmelo case.
What was his specific stance on the Carmelo?
You know what? I don't even
case?
fucking. You know how he is. I don't even fucking know. I just know he's another he's another team, and I'm seeing other guys. I'm seeing Ringo, Rollo against Carmelo and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
So I'm assuming that they think he's guilty of murder.
They think he's guilty
and should serve severe time in prison.
You know what? If he do serve time,
he's gonna be somebody's bitch.
I think he should have fought him. I think he should have. He probably would have. He probably could have won if he would have did some stick with their hands. But you know, he probably would have won. But you know, a lot of kids these days ain't trying to get no ass whoopings like that. Look, ain't trying to fight like that. Ain't trying to fight like that, man. Ain't trying to.
Yep.
Use the 1-2s. They'll stab you, shoot you. That's all kids. White, black, Latino. They ain't trying to fight.
I got stabbed by a youngster too in a fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's putting their little
I have
either stab or shoot you.
With some white Hispanic kid talking about he said he got something for me. I was like, oh like that. I was like, all right, for sure. And they ain't trying to fight you no more. But this is the third time I heard somebody getting stabbed in Texas and died. I think it's a Texas thing. I think they with the blades, man. They with the knives and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say my stance on this based on the facts that's been presented. I believe that Carmelo Anthony more than likely is guilty. He's guilty of something, but he shouldn't serve more than 10 years. He shouldn't serve 20 years in prison because he was defending himself.
All right, for sure.
I don't believe he did it with malicious intent. I don't think it was premeditated.
I don't. Are they saying that the white dude is racist or some shit like that?
And it was premeditated because once he says, "I got something for you right here," it's already premeditated. It's not like, "Oh, it happened," and then reaction, boom, she stabbed. It's not
Well, you
he's
give them a
telling
warning.
them.
You can't give people
Yeah,
warnings.
but that warning could be labeled as a pretty much you're
So,
premeditating the whole thing, and you're pretty much
No,
like
why,
grabbing.
people been giving
so,
people warnings.
so if
Years.
Carmelo,
What's the difference between this case?
if Carmelo Anthony takes the stand and he said Austin Metcalf said he was going to whoop my ass and knock me out, and he responded, "If you touch me, I got something for you."
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a problem when Austin Metcalf made the first threat?
I'll give somebody a warning. I'll say, I got something for you, baby, me alone. And most time people will probably leave you alone.
I don't know.
You did give them a warning.
I'm just saying that the stabbing thing was just too much, man. Think about it. If we let this one go and say it's all right, then because fights are pretty common, man, in school. We're gonna be hearing a lot of more stabbings. People saying, "Oh,
This ain't new. This ain't new. This probably
oh,
happening for
self
years. People
defense."
get stabbed for years. This ain't
Yeah,
new.
isn't that
This
part
is
of
not new.
But
This is
isn't
in
that
not new.
school, because in school you're not even supposed
No,
to
this is
have.
not new. People getting stabbed at school. No, this ain't
So
new.
some say it wasn't at school. Some people are saying that it wasn't in school grounds. I'm not sure.
yeah? Technically, it wasn't on school grounds. It was just a school event.
Mm. What people
So I
saw
don't
is a
know.
young jock, a young future white dude that could probably be in the army. That's young, look like he could be straight, getting stabbed by some black kid, and they just saw that on TV. There was just a white boy that just got killed in New York, in Queens, by a Chinese dude. Yeah, I don't hear people talking about that. I'm talking about the Asian dude killed the dude, overkilled him.
I think the reason why everybody's talking about it is because of the black fatigue I'm talking about.
Black fatigue. What you mean?
That's the word going around right now on the internet
People are
by
tired
the white people.
of people of the melanin committing crimes.
Ah, man.
That's their code word for pretty
Everybody doing
much.
crimes. Everybody doing crimes. Man, a black dude commit a crime out here, he going to jail. Ain't that right, GMC? A black dude commit a crime in Oakland, California, and he get caught. He serving time. Richmond, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't playing with us. Man, you caught pimping, you serving time. They give me football years. And that's why you see him do snitching.
Not right now. Not right now in California. They're letting all the pimping keep on going, man.
Oh, shit, everybody pimping in California, man. Women pimping women, men pimping
Kids.
women, kids.
Yeah.
No. If you pimping kids and you get caught, you definitely serving time.
Mm.
You serving time. If you pimping, because I'll be at the hotel. They got the sign. If you see somebody that look like they in traffic, call the police. They're not playing. If you get caught, you gonna serve that time.
So
Dad,
yeah.
GMT, what happened with that boy, man? I thought your channel got canceled or some shit.
No, I didn't get canceled.
Well, he got you. He got you. You still refing?
Oh yeah, I'm still refing.
Oh, I thought somebody said you lost that job.
Nah,
I
no, I didn't. So what ended up happening was
Mhm.
this is a good story. So there was a game, and the kid set up to take a charge, and he took the charge, and when he went to brace his impact, he broke
Mhm.
his arm. He broke his arm.
Oh, okay.
So he ran off the court and everything, and they had to put his arm in a splint
Ooh.
and then take him to the hospital. So then I ref the game, and then later on in that game, the coach, the scorekeeper didn't start the clock on time,
Mm-hmm.
and the coach got upset and he yelled at the scorekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't yell at the scorekeeper, so he was given a technical foul.
Oh, okay.
So the game was over, and then after the game was over, I guess the parent from that team was upset that her kid had broke his arm, and was upset with the officiating and whatnot, and said
Mm-hmm.
the game was out of hand. So during that time when I was reffing, I ref all the games with the GoPro on. So every complaint that parent made, I reviewed every play of it, and I put it on YouTube in the educational way.
Mm.
And then I pointed out how their coach yelled at the scorekeeper and why that was wrong. And then when the game was over, his team had won the game. So in his celebration, he ran on the court saying fuck yeah, we won, fuck yeah." He's not allowed to do that
Was he
because
black?
no, he's not black.
Oh, okay.
So he did all that, and I'm not explained in the video. Even when the game is over, you have to act in the sportsmanlike manner, because if you don't, it's up to the discretion of the referee to give a technical foul. And if that technical foul can affect the outcome of the game, then the kid could shoot free throws and either force overtime or win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted that video up, and the parents saw the video, and he said, "I don't like that your official is posting games of my kid and putting it on the internet. He never got my permission, even though there's other parents who record from the stands and post the games up to YouTube." So he demanded that I take the games down of that specific game in the educational video I made.
Karen.
So I talked to the president of the league. He didn't see a problem with the video because it was educational and it was training of the officials. But then again, we didn't have permission of the parents to film them and put it on YouTube. So he said, "Can you take the video down? And if you want to videotape, you have to sign a waiver for the parents or the team to fill out."
Mm-hmm.
So I took the game down, and then I made a waiver for the parents to sign. But the boys' season was close to over, so the parents didn't get a chance to sign the waiver. And then I made a waiver for the girls' season, but he didn't give the waiver to coaches to sign. So I just stopped recording their games. So I may do it next season or following season, but they got to sign the waiver first.
Yeah, okay. Dang. How many views you be getting in that ref channel?
Not much.
Oh, okay.
Anything over 100 is considered a good video.
Okay. Damn, I didn't know that. And this college or AAU?
Nah, that's like third to eighth grade.
Oh, okay.
Or fourth to eighth grade.
Oh, okay. Is the AAU big out there in the Bay? Yeah, I know it's big. When I was in Vegas, that shit was big.
It's California. Sports aren't.
Yeah.
It isn't like Texas or like states where all they have is sports.
Nah, so they be traveling. Shit, AAU be traveling, man.
Mm-hmm.
Las Vegas.
Oh, then what else happened? I guess the dude he did some background information on me. So you know how Ramil sued me?
Yeah.
So he gonna put in the email, "Oh, by the way, your official is being sued by somebody for defamation."
Damn, was this white folks you dealing with?
Nah, I think he was. I think he was either Asian or Filipino.
Oh, okay, figures. Figures. Oh man, hey, you seen the Pinot thing with the Indian broad?
What? Oh, her using the N word.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh shit, that's crazy. I tell you, shit, the black chick was calm, man. I thought she would have took off on her. See, they be calling black folks savages and shit.
No.
Man, she was calm as hell, man.
Now, what's crazy is that black women they want legislation for that to be a hate crime.
Mm-hmm. What's saying the N word?
Yeah.
What you think? What you think? You want to get it accepted or some shit?
No, it's not a hate crime. You should be able to just walk away. If people is allowed to cuss at the police, then citizens should be allowed to cuss at you, provided they're not in your personal space.
Oh, okay.
And being real threatening with it.
You should have called her a sand nigga or some shit. Oh, shit. That shit crazy, but they say she work. When they got her info, she got docs. They got her info where she work at. I even saw her. I think I found her her Instagram.
Hold on, let me see if I can play the news story. Let me see if I can find it first. Oh, yeah, there it go, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You be going to the car shows out here?
I haven't been to a car show in a while. I was supposed to go this weekend. I just didn't go.
Oh, which one?
There were a few of them out in the San Jose area on Saturday.
Okay, man. The last one I went to was probably 3 years ago. Pleasant Hill, I think Pleasant. What was it called? Pleasanton, some shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think Good Guys or Goodfellas. Shit, they had some nice cars, some classic old schools. Hella people's down there.
Yeah, but I know I just haven't went. It gets boring. I'm tired of filming cars sitting in the parking lot.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Video is shocking. This woman repeatedly uses the N-word while being recorded on a cell phone. Now, Pinole police have launched an investigation, but I have learned that this is not the woman's first brush with the law. Now, where you got up. This video of a woman in a car repeatedly using the N-word in Pinole has gone viral. The argument between the two women happened in this public parking lot in downtown Pinole on Sunday afternoon. Pinole police officers responded to the scene and spoke to both women. In a statement, Pinole police said in part, due to the nature of the verbal exchange between the involved parties, the incident has been classified as a hate incident and is currently under investigation by the Department's Criminal Investigation Bureau.
It's really disheartening. We're living in some very trying times.
Felicia Cara Fairfield reposted the video on her social media and helped identify the woman using the slurs.
With the tensions that's going on, and racism is at an all-time high right now. And it was just so much racism and just blatant disrespect. It was sad to see.
I spoke to the mother of the woman now under investigation. She did not want to go on camera, but told me she's sad and has been crying constantly after learning about the video a day earlier. I have learned the woman accused of using the racial slurs has a pending criminal case, charged with repeatedly stealing from Ulta Beauty in Concord. The manager of a nearby restaurant in Pinole tells me the woman had been a customer, laughing by herself. He says she's no longer welcome there. It's not clear what led up to the disagreement caught on video.
It does not matter. It does not matter at all. No matter what the contents is, she was out of line. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what transpired before, she was out of line.
Seeing the footage, I'm disturbed. I'm outraged. Cameron Sasai is mayor of Pinole.
The use of racial slurs, everything from these racist anti-Black rhetoric is not welcome anywhere, but especially condemned in the city of Pinole.
It's not a nice word to use and it should never be used. She should definitely be educated on it.
Now, once police wrap up their case, the Contra Costa County DA will determine whether this woman will formally face charges. Live in Pinole, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right.
Man, that's crazy. How y'all just play y'all will literally play the victim, running the victim Olympics over a name. But when y'all tear people out of the frame, robbing people, hitting them over the head, breaking them to their businesses, that's crazy.
I don't know. That ain't all of us. I ain't doing that shit.
But yeah, you got any final thoughts? Then I'm gonna shut this one down.
I'm good, man. It's good talking to you. Peace.
All right, take care. Oh, thanks to all the people who came by and watched. Salute, we appreciate y'all. At some point, we gotta stop the violence. We can't be making excuses. We can't be deflecting. At some point, something's gotta be done about the violence. If not, that Jake Lang, he gonna have a rally. And instead of having 20 people at his rally, he gonna have thousands of people at his rally. You know, kind of like how BLMs had thousands of people at their rally and they able to stop traffic. They able to get on the freeway and stop traffic and really make people focus in. If we keep going down that route, he gonna have the numbers. And if he get the numbers to stop traffic, get in people's face, chain themselves down on the busy highway, it's gonna be problems. But with that said, it's your boy, the Grandmaster Troll. Peace out.